Chapter 865. By the way, do you really think you're the only one among us that's ranked over 200,000 on the Monarch ranking? Why don't you take a look at the three of us? Which one of us isn't ranked higher than you? That's the reason why we're going to kill you. After hearing the three people's unbridled laughter, Li Tianlan's expression changed. Wang Meng glanced at the figures above their heads. The leading young genius in a black robe had his name written on top of his head, frowny face, peony, stabbing in a cow dung. Ranked 2,666th on the Monarch ranking. The other young geniuses also had their names written on top of their heads in golden letters. They were frowny face, admiring the red sunset. Ranked 2,774th on the Monarch ranking. Drinking alone. Ranked 2,701st on the Monarch ranking. No wonder these three were so confident that they could defeat him. In a one-on-one battle, the difference between their rankings would only be determined after the battle. However, the difference between the rankings on the Monarch ranking would not be too great, which Wang Meng was well aware of. However, Wang Meng still had some confidence in dealing with these three fellows. Even if there was a difference between their strengths, Wang Meng believed that the difference would not be too huge. This was the reason why Wang Meng was so confident. Upon having this thought, Wang Meng let out a hollow laugh and said, "If that's the case, there's no need to waste any more time. Bring it on." While speaking, a silver spear appeared in his hand out of nowhere. Wang Meng pointed his great spear at the three of them, his expression cold and indifferent. Upon seeing this, the leading young man with the name Peony smilingly said to another young man, "Wu Luori, go and test this kid's capabilities." Hearing this, Wu Luori let out a confident laugh and said, "Don't worry, I'm confident that I can defeat this kid. There's no need for you guys to do it." As soon as he finished speaking, an extraordinary machete appeared in Wu Luori's hand. Then, he charged toward Wang Meng. In practically the blink of an eye, he'd arrived before Wang Meng, and the saber in his hand swung down towards Wang Meng's head. Seeing this scene, Wang Meng sneered. The great spear in his hand blocked in front of him, accompanied by a loud, clanging sound. The opponent's broadsword was easily blocked by Wang Meng. At the same time, Wang Meng swept his spear and pierced towards the opponent's face. Seeing this scene, Wu Luori was instantly shocked. He hurriedly leaned back and dodged Wang Meng's spear. But the next moment, Wu Luori suddenly felt a sharp pain in his shoulder. He lowered his head and saw that Wang Meng's spear had cut off a piece of flesh from his shoulder, causing blood to flow out. Wu Luori, whose face was filled with pain, was instantly enraged. His face contorted as he roared, "Little bastard, I'll kill you." With that, Wu Luori furiously raised his broadsword and began slashing at Wang Meng. His speed became faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, he had swung his saber over 1,000 times, but all of them were easily blocked by Wang Meng. The speed of their fight became faster and faster, to the point where the naked eye could no longer capture their movements. But in reality, the two of them were attacking each other and did not gain much of an advantage over each other. But in terms of weapon combat, Wang Meng had always been superior to his opponent. There was no doubt about this. Because of this, Wu Luori basically did not gain any advantage from Wang Meng. On the contrary, many parts of his body had suffered heavy injuries. Moreover, Wang Meng had also discovered this. This was a wound left behind by a fake 6th-level weapon. Even though he had the ancient demon mighty body, it was still difficult to heal. Judging from the slow healing speed, it would take at least a few days for it to heal. This was because the power of the precept carried by the weapon would destroy the body's healing ability and devour life force. As for why Wang Meng knew, because his arm had also been slashed. Luckily, the wound was not on his face. Otherwise, even with the Supreme being masked in front of him, there would be a hideous wound on his face in the next few days. At this moment, Wu Luori, whose expression was extremely ugly, immediately distanced himself from Wang Meng. Since he could not gain any advantage in terms of weapon, he naturally would not choose to continue fighting with Wang Meng with weapons. The sword in his hand disappeared into thin air. Then, he formed a seal with both hands and the power of the precept around him swarmed over. At the same time, Wuluri roared, "5 elements mountain seal." Just as he finished speaking, a mini mountain appeared in his palm. Seeing this, Wang Mang did not want to be outdone. He also wanted to test his own 9 heavens thunder seal. Therefore, Wang Mang raised his hand to the sky, and the power of the precept gathered. Most of it was the power of the thunder and lightning precept. In the blink of an eye, Wang Mang's entire arm was covered by the power of the thunder and lightning precept. Bolts of lightning coiled around Wang Mang's arm. Dark Heaven Thunder Seal. Following Wang Mang's roar, the arm that was raised above his head slammed towards Wuluri. A terrifying bolt of lightning instantly turned into a thunder seal and whizzed over. There were 3 types of thunder seals in the 9 heavens thunder seal. They were respectively the Dark Heaven Thunder Seal, the Thunder Punishment Seal, and the 9 heavens Thunder Seal. Among them, the 9 heavens Thunder Seal was also known as the 9 heavens Thunder Calamity. It was 81 times stronger than the Dark Heaven Thunder Seal. It was also the ultimate skill of the 9 heavens Thunder Python. At this moment, after seeing Wang Mang's Dark Heaven Thunder Seal, Wuluri's face was cold as he said indifferently, "Go, Gold Mountain Seal." Just as he finished speaking, he swung the mini mountain in his hand. This mini mountain could be said to be expanding with the wind. In the blink of an eye, it had already expanded into a mountain. Finally, it collided with the Dark Heaven Thunder Seal that covered the sky. Rumble. Bang. After the 2 terrifying divine abilities collided with each other, a terrifying aftershock swept across the area. The terrifying scene was like an atomic bomb exploding. Wherever the terrifying hurricane swept, it turned into ruins. Seeing this scene, the young prodigy's face turned solemn. At the same time, the prodigy beside him, drinking alone drunk, also looked surprised. He could see that this guy really had the strength to fight with them. In a situation of life and death, he could be on par with Wuluri. Naturally, he would not be much weaker than them. At the same time, at this moment, after the smoke and dust in the sky had dispersed, the 2 of them looked at each other from afar, staring at each other. In contrast, Wuluri's face was extremely gloomy. At this moment, Wang Mang stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "Didn't you want to kill me? Show me what you've got. If that's all you've got, you're still far from being able to kill me." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Wuluri's face was ferocious as he said in a cold and gloomy tone, "All right, let's decide the winner with one move." After saying that, Wuluri stretched out his hands and the surrounding dermic powers swarmed over. Seeing this, the young prodigy's face changed drastically as he shouted angrily, "Wuluri, you're crazy. What are you doing? Let's just attack together and kill him. There's no need to risk our lives." After saying that, the young prodigy and the young prodigy beside him had a pitch-black long spear in their hands. This long spear was also extremely extraordinary. Judging from the nomological powers flowing around the long spear, it was obviously a pseudo-6th-level divine weapon. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang inwardly became vigilant. If it was just a simple life and death battle with Wuluri, to be honest, Wang Mang was not 100% confident. However, Wang Mang believed that he was more than half confident that he could suppress Wuluri. However, if these 2 guys attacked together, Wang Mang would definitely run away without saying anything, because one Wuluri was enough to give him a headache. Moreover, if the 3 of them attacked together, if it was before the fight, Wang Mang did not take them seriously. However, after the fight, Wang Mang knew these 3 guys were not just for show. They all had abilities that were on par with him. At this moment, Wuluri shouted with a ferocious face, "All of you go away. None of you are allowed to interfere. Today, I want to fight him to the death." Chapter 866. Obviously, he had been unable to gain the upper hand after fighting Wang Mang for so long. He was completely enraged. Otherwise, he would not have decided to fight to the death with Wang Mang. After all, his ranking on the Monarch leaderboard was much higher than Wang Mang's. However, after fighting for so long, he was still at a disadvantage. The anger in his heart could not be described with words. Moreover, it was in front of his two good friends. He had lost all his dignity. Hearing this, the leading prodigy and the other prodigy frowned. Obviously, they could tell that Wuluori had completely lost his mind due to anger. However, seeing Wuluori's determined look, the two of them exchanged glances and fell silent. Wang Mang, who was secretly observing, heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this. In that case, he would have a chance. He really did have a chance to kill his opponent. With that thought, Wang Mang did not waste any more time. He raised his hand to the sky and gathered the power of the law of lightning again. Moreover, this time, Wang Mang gathered a huge amount of the law of lightning. The vast amount of law of lightning in the sky had already spread to Wang Mang's entire arm. Moreover, the surging lightning covered Wang Mang's entire body. At a glance, Wang Mang's entire body was covered in lightning. Countless bolts of lightning flowed around Wang Mang's body. It was as if he had turned into the god of lightning. Moreover, these bolts of lightning transformed into lightning snakes, lightning pythons, and even lightning dragons. At this moment, Wang Mang suddenly heard an angry roar. 5 elements mountain seal. Hearing this, Wang Mang raised his head and looked over. He saw a 5-colored mini version of the little mountain stamp condensed in Wuluori's palm. Then, Wuluori shot towards him. Clearly, this fellow was competing with his divine abilities and maximizing the power of his divine abilities. In order to maximize the power of his divine ability, he had to use it in close combat. In that case, if his opponent wanted to fight him, he would not be able to dodge the divine ability. In fact, Wang Mang did not plan to dodge. He was not afraid of fighting someone of the same level. Moreover, he had the upper hand in the previous battle. Therefore, Wang Mang's face was also filled with murderous intent as he shot towards Wuluori. The next moment, the two streams of light charged toward each other. At the same time, Wang Mang roared furiously, 9 heavens thunder seal. At the same time, Wuluori, whose face was completely ferocious, shouted angrily, 5 elements mountain seal. Then, Wang Mang and Wuluori both attacked each other with their divine abilities that had been condensed to their limits. Rumble. An earth-shattering sound rang out. Instantly, the sound of an explosion could be heard. At the same time, the remaining power engulfed the two of them. The terrifying aftershock was filled with the power of countless laws. The power of the 5 elemental laws and the power of the thunder law intertwined, turning the surrounding areas into ruins. After the dust in the sky had dispersed, they saw that the originally green mountains and clear waters of the great desolate mountain forest. At this moment, even the ground had been lifted to a depth of 10,000 meters. Other than that, the two figures were less than 10 meters away from each other. Among them, Wuluori was half kneeling on the ground, his entire body covered in blood. His entire body was covered in wounds that were so deep that his bones could be seen, and black smoke was still rising from them. This was because his entire body was charred black, and even the power of laws could not heal his injuries. Similarly, on the other side, Wang Mang was not much better off. His entire body was covered in red lines that covered his entire body. It was as if he would shatter at any moment. At this moment, Wang Mang's physical body was on the verge of collapse. This was because he had taken the opponent's pseudo-rank 6 divine ability head-on. Similarly, Wuluori had also taken Wang Mang's pseudo-rank 6 divine ability head-on. Therefore, the current Wang Mang was definitely severely injured. Of course, Wuluori was definitely on the verge of death. At this moment, Wuluori raised his head with difficulty and looked at Wang Mang, his voice trembling as he said, "You're very powerful. I, Wuluori, have nothing to say about my loss." Hearing this, Wang Mang laughed menacingly. He endured the intense pain all over his body and transformed his upper body into the body of a giant python. He opened his ferocious mouth and was about to swallow this guy whole. When the two legend prodigies saw this from afar, they instantly became furious and shouted, "Stop!" As they spoke, they dashed towards Wang Mang. Unfortunately, it was too late. Wang Mang's ferocious mouth had already swallowed Wuluori. After that, Wang Mang transformed into a giant python and fled towards the forest and mountains in the distance. Seeing this, the two enraged sky prides of myth chased after him. At the same time, Wang Mang, who was fleeing at full speed, the system's voice rang in his mind. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully devoured an 8th Heaven Divine Emperor, a legend prodigy. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 800 million energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 100 talent points. When he heard the system's voice, Wang Mang was instantly elated. Not bad, not bad. A Legend of Heaven's chosen actually had 100 talent points. In other words, he only needed to kill 100 prodigies. Then he would be able to gather enough talent points to reach the Junior Supreme Master level. Thinking of this, Wang Mang finally felt somewhat gratified. At this moment, Wang Mang frowned and spat out a storage ring from his mouth. After seeing this storage ring, Wang Mang was stunned at first. Then he couldn't help but feel happy. This guy had a pseudo-6th level divine weapon. Wang Mang knew this very well. If he returned to the city and sold this pseudo-6th level divine weapon, he could probably exchange it for a pseudo-6th level divine ability. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's mood became even better. Then he fled even faster. Not long after, Wang Mang had already fled outside the city. Then he transformed into his human form and rushed into the city. Seeing this, the two legend prodigies who were following him immediately became gloomy. Then the two of them gritted their teeth and said to Wang Mang, "Boy, don't let us meet you in the grand wilderness. Otherwise, we'll make you beg for death." After saying this, the two of them left in extreme anger and unwillingness. The reason why they didn't continue to follow into the city. This was because even if they followed into the city, it would be useless. Don't forget, Wang Mang had the king's token. Therefore, they also knew that as long as Wang Mang entered the city, it would be easy for him to get rid of them. He could even directly use the portal to go to the other 11 cities. They wouldn't be able to track him at all. Otherwise, they would never let Wang Mang go so easily. At the same time, Wang Mang, who was in the city, saw the two of them leave and heaved a sigh of relief. Then, Wang Mang took out the storage ring and erased the law imprint on it. But when Wang Mang probed the storage ring with his divine sense, he was completely stunned. Chapter 867 F***CK. Is this the legendary talent stone? After probing the storage ring with his divine sense, Wang Mang discovered it. In this small space, there were as many as 300 talent stones. Each talent stone emitted a unique aura unique to geniuses. Other than that, there were also several 5th-grade weapons. The pseudo-6th-grade divine weapon that Wu Luori used earlier was also among them. Other than that, there was nothing else in the storage space. There was only one thing left. It was a very childish thing. It was a cricket made of grass and wood. However, after Wang Mang thought about it, he guessed that there should be a story behind it. Of course, Wang Mang was not interested in the story behind this cricket made of plants. On the contrary, Wang Mang guessed that this so-called talent stone should be one of the currencies circulating here. In order to verify his guess, Wang Mang started to wander around the city with his hands behind his back. If it wasn't for the miserable injuries on his body, Wang Mang would look like an elegant young master. After asking a few prodigies and merchants, Wang Mang obtained his own conjecture. That was, talent stones were the only currency circulating here. Other than that, everything else was bartered. Moreover, after wandering around for a while, Wang Mang also found out the value of a pseudo-6th-grade divine weapon. The result gave Wang Mang a huge shock. A pseudo-6th-grade divine weapon was actually worth 1,000 talent stones. In other words, it was 500 points of talent. That was even more valuable than a legendary prodigy. Moreover, this pseudo-6th-grade divine weapon was priceless, because there were too many supreme geniuses. But the problem was, where did the pseudo-6th-grade divine weapon come from? Even a lesser sovereign couldn't forge it. Only a 6th-grade powerhouse could forge it. This led to a serious imbalance between supply and demand. Many geniuses and merchants even dared to sell pseudo-6th-grade divine weapons at 2,000 talent stones, or even higher. This also meant that if Wang Mang could get more than 10 pseudo-6th-grade divine weapons, in that case, after he sold all of them, he would be able to obtain enough talent points to become a junior sovereign by devouring the talent stones. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but feel excited. He suddenly felt that this so-called pseudo-6th-order divine weapon was obviously more worth it than hunting and killing the legendary prodigies. Of course, this was only for legendary geniuses of the same level. However, it would be a different story if it was a weak legendary genius. Other than that, Wang Mang also discovered that the price of a pseudo-rank 6 ability was even more expensive than the one beside him. A pseudo-rank 6 divine ability was generally priced at 2,000 natural endowment stones. However, he couldn't sell more than one divine ability. If he sold it, he wouldn't even be able to use it himself. Not only that, he also had to swear a great Tao oath on the spot that he would never use it in the future, let alone leak it out. Because of this, the price of a pseudo-6th level divine ability was much higher than that of a pseudo-6th level divine weapon. Of course, most of them wouldn't sell divine abilities, because without the pseudo-6th level divine weapon, he would at most be at a disadvantage. However, they could still use their divine abilities to fight against their enemies and would not die. However, without the divine ability, they would definitely lose to those of the same level and would be in danger of dying. Moreover, once the prodigy died, the divine ability would basically disappear. Because of this, the price of a divine ability was much higher than that of a pseudo-6th level divine weapon. A pseudo-6th level divine weapon could still be obtained if the enemy died. However, a pseudo-6th level divine ability could not be obtained even if the enemy died. Just like Wu Luri, his 5 elements mountain seal, it could fight against Wang Mang, and its power was even on par with him. Therefore, the value of a divine ability could be imagined. In addition, this was an attack-type pseudo-6th level divine ability. Its price was even more expensive than an ordinary pseudo-6th level divine ability. It was a pity that Wang Mang didn't have much of these two things himself, especially the divine ability. He only had 2 pseudo-6th level divine abilities because of the system's help. As for this pseudo-6th level divine weapon, he only had a large saber that he had obtained now. Of course, there were also some things that were sold, such as talismans, 6th level divine weapons, and 6th level divine abilities. These things were simply astronomical in price, and most of them were even exchanged with other items. In fact, they couldn't even be bought with natural endowment stones, because they didn't need these things anymore. Their accumulated natural endowments were already close to the peak. What they needed was to increase their battle strength, as well as divine abilities and divine weapons that were more suitable for them. After regaining his senses, Wang Mang prepared to organize his gains before trying to obtain divine weapons or natural endowments. With that thought, Wang Mang wandered around for a while, then returned to the exit of the 11th city and began to observe his surroundings. After confirming that there were no prodigies following him, Wang Mang left the city again and flew towards the depths of the vast wilderness. However, after entering the depths of the vast wilderness, Wang Mang realized that compared to the vast wilderness outside the city, there were too many prodigies here. There were simply too many geniuses in the vast wilderness. It was truly difficult to find a place to recuperate and go into seclusion. Wang Mang had no choice but to continue flying towards the depths of the vast wilderness. After searching for more than an hour, Wang Mang finally found a well-hidden cave. After that, Wang Mang set up a barrier before entering the cave. After entering the cave, Wang Mang sat down cross-legged and began to heal his wounds. This was the first time he had suffered such serious injuries. It was also the first time he had fought against a legendary prodigy of the same level. Fortunately, the final result didn't disappoint him. He had successfully defeated his opponent, and his gains were not bad. After slowly closing his eyes, Wang Mang began to heal his wounds. It wasn't until half a month later that Wang Mang's terrifying injuries were finally healed. Only after opening his eyes again did Wang Mang joyfully recite to himself, "System, open my personal information." The next moment, his personal information appeared before his eyes. The next moment, his personal information appeared before his eyes. Wang Mang, all heavens expert, old ancestor Wanma, type, 9 heavens thunder python, limit, 850 meters, realm, 7th heaven emperor god, legendary prodigy, body, 820 meters long, 38 meters wide, 2 billion tons in weight. Divine ability, ancient demon tyrant body, perfection, 9 heavens thunder seal, mastery, devouring god art, perfection. Space, 1 bottle of forgotten love water, 1 top-level 5th rank tracking talisman X1, low-grade 6th rank bad luck card X1, Immortal King level blind box X1, Immortal Emperor level blind box X1, Immortal Emperor level treasure chest X1. Equipment, Supreme Mask, Silver Dragon Spear, Dark Saber, Aptitude 5150/15,000, Lesser Supreme. Energy Value, 240. 8 billion/600 billion. Ranking on the Emperor board, 2788. After reading his personal information, Wang Mang immediately nodded in satisfaction. He couldn't wait any longer. Because he had never opened an Immortal Emperor-level treasure chest or blind box before. How would an Immortal Emperor-level treasure chest compare to an Immortal King-level treasure chest? Thinking of this, Wang Mang, who was in a good mood, immediately said in his heart, "System, open the Immortal Emperor-level treasure chest." The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully opened the Immortal Emperor-level treasure chest." Ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained." Chapter 868. The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully opened the Celestial Emperor treasure chest." Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points." Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 8 billion energy points." Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 12 billion energy points." Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained a random monthly reward card." Note: monthly reward card. At most, it can be opened 30 times in a month, and at most once a day. The number of days in a month is all random. Once the time is over, it will be completely ineffective. Anything can be opened. Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained a 6th grade Divine Weapon Fusion card X1. Note: after using it, fuse 5 divine weapons of the same level. There is a chance of successful fusion and obtain a higher grade divine weapon. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained a female Supreme Original Lingerie." After listening to the system's announcement, Wang Mang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Of course, he was more happy. This was because this Celestial Emperor treasure chest was very good. It directly deducted 30 billion energy points. In addition to this, he also obtained a Divine Weapon Fusion card and a random monthly reward card. In general, compared to the Celestial King treasure chest, it was obviously much more powerful. Of course, what Wang Mang was looking forward to the most was the Celestial Emperor blind box. This was because the Celestial King blind box itself was already impressive enough. He wondered how many good things could be opened from the Celestial Emperor blind box that was 1 level higher. When he thought of this, Wang Mang joyfully said in his heart, "System, open the Celestial Emperor blind box." The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully opened the Celestial Emperor blind box." Ding. "Congratulations to the host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points." Only 10 billion? Wang Mang was immediately dissatisfied. Just as Wang Mang began to suspect the existence of this Immortal Emperor grade blind box, the system's voice sounded for the second time, frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 20 billion energy points." That's right. Very good. He didn't disappoint me. After hearing the system's announcement for the second time, only then did Wang Mang feel much better. Just the 2 draws had already earned him 30 billion energy points. This proved that the Immortal Emperor Grey Blind Box definitely wouldn't be too overboard. As expected, 1 minute later, the system's voice sounded for the 3rd time, frowny face ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 30 billion energy values. Awesome. Very impressive. After hearing the system's announcement, Wang Mang couldn't help but laugh. That was 60 billion energy values. Could it be that this Immortal Emperor-level blind box was going to charge toward the 100 billion energy value? Thinking of this, Wang Mang began to look forward to the next prize. Soon, the system's voice sounded for the 4th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a pseudo 6th level divine weapon, Flaming Divine Rod. Note, this divine weapon is even more powerful when used by an expert who specializes in fire laws. What the F***CK? Awesome. How awesome. Even a pseudo 6th level divine weapon was obtained. For a moment, Wang Mang was stunned. This was the first time he had obtained a pseudo 6th level divine weapon. It was also a pseudo 6th level divine weapon obtained from the system. However, what made Wang Mang slightly disappointed was that this pseudo 6th level divine ability was obviously a stick-type divine weapon, and it was more suitable for a prodigy who specialized in fire laws. However, in comparison, a divine weapon like the Silver Dragon Spear, which had no requirements, was more suitable for Wang Mang, because this type of divine weapon was universal to all powers of laws. Its power might not be comparable to an exclusive divine weapon that specialized in laws. However, there were no requirements to use it, and it could also unleash quite a bit of power. At this moment, the system's voice sounded for the 5th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a mid-5th level divine weapon, Fu Tian Seal. A mid-5th level divine weapon was useless to him. With his current strength, even a top 5th level divine weapon was useless to him. Not to mention this so-called mid-5th level divine weapon. Therefore, Wang Mang was speechless at this moment. Another minute later, the system's voice sounded for the 6th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a strand of hair from a 6th level divine martial emperor. King open a prize, and you gave me a strand of hair? Even if the other party was a 6th level divine martial emperor, a strand of hair was useless. To be honest, Wang Mang really did not take these 6th level divine martial emperors seriously, although he was not a 6th level divine martial emperor now. However, he was a legendary prodigy, and this meant that he was destined to become a 6th level divine martial emperor. Not only that, he could also become a prodigy among the 6th level divine martial emperors. All of this was destined. Otherwise, Wang Mang would not have come to the path of 10,000 realms to conquer, because as long as he was an expert who had gone far on the path of 10,000 realms, after leaving, the probability of becoming a 6th level divine martial emperor in the future was basically stable. Moreover, the more outstanding the prodigy in the path of 10,000 realms, then, in the future, among the 6th level divine martial emperors, they would also bloom their own brilliance, just as Wang Mang was helplessly ridiculing. Another minute passed. The system's voice sounded for the 7th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained one of the top 10 prodigies on the Emperor board. Thunder, Shakyamuni Sikong Jun's pretentious quotes. Good fellow. Pretentious quotes? Why the hell would I care? After hearing the system's announcement, Wang Mang was instantly speechless. Pretentious quotes? Could it be that the guy who became a divine martial emperor? Each of them had their own book of quotes to show off. If that was the case, Wang Mang felt that he could consider preparing his own pretentious quotes in advance. Right at this moment, the system's voice sounded for the 8th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a 5th level legendary prodigy trial card X1. What the hell? Legendary prodigy trial card? Big brother system. I'm already a mythical prodigy myself. What's the use of this legendary prodigy trial card for me? If you give me a 6th level one, I can still use it in the future. But this 5th level legendary prodigy trial card was really useless to Wang Mang. In fact, he couldn't even sell it, because in the 11 cities, Wang Mang had never seen an existence below legendary prodigy. Perhaps there were, but it was definitely very rare. In short, Wang Mang had never encountered one. Sigh. It seemed that there was a limit to the good things that could be obtained from the Immortal Emperor blind box. Just as Wang Mang was sighing, the system's voice sounded for the 9th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a one-time pseudo 6th level good luck card. Note: after using it, you will fall into good luck for the next 24 hours. If it's light, you'll have good luck. If it's heavy, you'll have good luck. After listening to the system's last announcement, Wang Mang was stunned at first. Then he couldn't help but be ecstatic. This Immortal Emperor blind box really didn't disappoint him, although the things that were opened were mixed. But it was much better than the Immortal King blind box. This time, even a pseudo 6th level good luck card was opened. This was even more advanced than the previous one-time 5th level good luck cards. Chapter 869. However, Wang Mang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He only had one Immortal King-level blind box left. If he used it, he would definitely suffer a huge loss. Therefore, this pseudo 6th order one-time good luck card, Wang Mang obviously wasn't going to use it this time. Thinking of this, Wang Mang felt a little helpless in his heart. How should he put it? I like the items from the Immortal King-level blind box very much, but I'm very unhappy with the number of boxes I have now. Thinking of this, Wang Mang secretly shook his head and said in his heart, System, Immortal King-level blind box. The next moment, the system's voice sounded again, frowny-faced Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully opened the Immortal King-level blind box. Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was secretly surprised. Not bad. This Immortal King-level blind box was still very powerful. Thinking of this, Wang Mang secretly nodded and then looked forward to the next prize. The next moment, the system's voice sounded again, frowny-faced Ding. Congratulations, host. Obtained a pseudo 6th order divine ability, Healing Light. Note: this divine ability is a healing type divine ability. After using it, it can instantly heal half of the injuries of others. You can't use it on yourself. What the F***CK? A pseudo 6th order divine ability even came out? Wang Mang was shocked at first, but after understanding the nature of the divine ability, he was immediately disappointed, because this pseudo 6th order divine ability was too useless. It was a pity to throw it away. After all, it could only heal the injuries of others and couldn't be used on himself. What was the use of this thing? Could it be that he had learned to be a good person, to do good deeds and accumulate merit? Unfortunately, Wang Mang didn't have such a hobby. Therefore, Wang Mang was also very helpless in his heart. However, after thinking about it, Wang Mang was in a good mood again. He could very well sell this divine ability. By then, the rewards wouldn't be too bad. At this moment, the system's voice sounded for the 3rd time, frowny-faced Ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a pseudo 6th order divine ability, Peak of Combat Power. Note: after using this skill, the opponent will receive a 10% boost in combat power. Each time lasts for 24 hours. What a guy. Another useless divine ability. Increase the combat power of the opponent. Was he courting death? After using it, the stronger the opponent, the easier it would be to kill him. This ability was even more useless than the Healing Light. Sigh. It would be great if all of them were combat-type divine abilities. In that case, Wang Mang had made a huge profit. Even if he didn't sell it, he would still make a huge profit. However, it didn't matter. Wang Mang would definitely think of a way to sell these useless pseudo-rank 6 abilities. As for who would be unlucky enough to buy Wang Mang's pseudo-rank 6 spirit art, He had no idea. Just as Wang Mang was thinking about how he should sell these useless divine abilities, a voice suddenly rang out. The system's voice sounded for the fourth time, frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 10 billion energy points. Oh my, not bad, not bad. This Celestial King Gray Blind Box was truly awesome. After hearing that the energy value was opened again, Wang Mang was in a good mood. This time, he wasn't disappointed at all, although he had obtained 2 pseudo-rank 6 spirit arts. Even if he didn't need them, there would always be a fellow cultivator who could. Right at this moment, the system's voice sounded for the 5th time, frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon, White Demon Spear, that is about to collapse. Note, a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon that is about to collapse. Before it collapses, it is no different from a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon. However, after 10 days, it will drop in grade and become a top-notch 5th grade divine weapon. What the F***CK? There was such a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon. He had to sell this as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would suffer a huge loss if the expired product fell into his hands. For a moment, Wang Mang was shocked. Fortunately, he was already prepared to sell it. He had to sell this White Demon Spear within 10 days. If it was really a good item, Wang Mang wouldn't sell it at all. He would keep it to fuse with a higher grade divine weapon in the future. Right at this moment, the system's voice sounded for the 6th time, frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a bull-headed beastman beauty. A bull-headed beastman beauty? I'm not a bull-headed beastman. What's the use of this bull-headed beastman beauty? Just as Wang Mang was speechless, the system's voice sounded for the 7th time, frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a bull-headed beastman beauty. Damn. Again? After hearing the system's announcement, Wang Mang was completely helpless. Fortunately, the announcement this time didn't disappoint him too much. Although there were quite a few trash items, there were also quite a few good items. Another minute later, the system's voice sounded for the 8th time, frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a horse-headed beastman beauty's bra. After hearing the system's announcement, Wang Mang was completely speechless. The 3 treasure chests only gave him 100 billion energy points. This was really a little too little. Fortunately, there were quite a few other good items. Of course, Wang Mang didn't know how many good things he had obtained. Therefore, Wang Mang silently said in his heart, "System, open my personal information." The next moment, personal information appeared before his eyes. Wang Mang, Heavenly Powerhouse, Myriad Devil Ancestor. Type, 9 Heavens, Thunder Python. Limit, 850 meters. Realm, 7th Heavenly God Emperor, Legend Heaven's Pride. Body, 820 meters long, 38 meters wide, 2 billion tons weight. Divine ability, Ancient Devil Tyrant Body, Perfection, 9 Heavens Thunder Seal, Mastery, Devouring Spirit Art, Perfection. Space, 1 bottle of Forgotten Love Water, Rank 5 Top Tracking Talisman, Rank 6 Low-Grade Bad Luck Card X1, Monthly Reward Card X1, Divine Weapon Fusion Card X1, Pseudo Rank 6 Good Luck Card X1, White Demon Spear X1, expires in 10 days, Pseudo Rank 6 Divine Ability X2. Equipment, Sovereign Mask, Silver Dragon Spear, Flaming Divine Staff, Dark Saber, Aptitude 5150/15,000, Lesser Supreme. Energy Points, 350. 8 billion/600 billion. Emperor Board Ranking, 2788. After reading his personal information, Wang Mang immediately nodded in satisfaction. I've already collected half of the energy points. The next evolution won't be far away. In a happy mood, Wang Mang once again said in his heart, "System, activate the monthly reward card." The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. Congratulations, host. Successfully used the monthly reward card. Note, after use, there will be a random lottery in the next 30 days. The maximum number of lottery draws is 30 times. The value of the lottery items is random. The lottery rules are random. That's it. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was stunned at first, then he was dumbfounded. In other words, this thing's lottery could be opened every day. Of course, this was only a possibility. At this moment, the system's voice sounded again, frowny-faced. Detected the host's current situation. The host is given the following mission to choose from. Mission 1. Sell a useless pseudo-rank 6 divine ability. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 20 billion energy points. Random lottery chance, X1. Immortal King level blind box, X1. Mission 2. Sell a useless pseudo-rank 6 divine ability and pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon, and the price is not lower than the market price. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 50 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor level treasure chest, X1. Mission 2. Sell a useless pseudo-rank 6 divine ability and pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon, and the price must be higher than the market price. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 80 billion energy points. Immortal King level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor level treasure chest, X1. Chapter 870. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was stunned at first, then he couldn't help but laugh. He was prepared to sell these useless pseudo-rank 6 superpowers and divine weapons. Now that the system had issued a mission, it was exactly what he wanted to do. There was no need to guess the first 3 missions. There was no need to choose the first mission. The reward was too little. There was no need to guess the second mission. The reward was too little. Would he, Wang Mang, do business at a loss? That was obviously impossible. Therefore, Wang Mang's choice was obvious. Obviously, he chose the third mission. With that thought, Wang Mang said in his heart, "System, I choose the third mission." In the next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced. "Congratulations, host. You have successfully chosen the mission. Please complete the mission as soon as possible to receive the reward." After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was in a good mood. Then he stood up and walked out of the cave. Then, Wang Mang waved his hand, and a terrifying power of law swept out. After half an hour of bombardment, the enchantment was successfully broken. Then, Wang Mang soared into the sky and flew far away from the vast wilderness. However, not long after, more than 10 geniuses who were fighting fiercely in the distance attracted Wang Mang's attention. That was because these geniuses were all legendary geniuses. However, they were all geniuses of the third heaven of the supreme realm. Moreover, these geniuses seemed to be 2 groups of geniuses who were fighting fiercely. One should know that Wang Mang was even able to kill a legendary genius of the 4th heaven of the supreme realm on the emperor ranking. Encountering more than 10 legendary geniuses all of a sudden surprised Wang Mang. In the next moment, Wang Mang quietly withdrew his aura. When he got closer, Wang Mang instantly set up the enchantment. The power of law, as vast as the sea, swept out and sealed the area in the blink of an eye. This scene also caused the dozen or so mythical prodigies who were fighting fiercely to turn pale with fright. They immediately came back to their senses and saw a powerful enchantment in the sky. Moreover, this enchantment was becoming thicker and more stable at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not good. Everyone, let's destroy the barrier together. A 4th layer limiter is ambushing us. Damn it, let's attack together. Break the barrier, or we'll all die. Which scoundrel is so treacherous? How abominable. In actual combat, the group of Sky Prides were both shocked and furious. At the same time, they all attacked the barrier with their divine abilities. Furthermore, when they attacked the spirit formation together, it immediately caused the spirit formation in the sky to become extremely unstable. After all, Wang Mang had just set up the barrier. If the 12 4th level Supreme Realm prodigies attacked together, they would naturally be able to interfere. Fortunately, when they attacked together, They were unable to break apart the weak barrier that Wang Mang had set up. However, the awkward thing was that his enchantment was not set up firmly. It was extremely unstable and could shatter at any time. This made Wang Mang a little flustered. He used all his strength to activate the power of laws to strengthen the barrier. Therefore, both sides immediately fell into a stalemate. Wang Mang was desperately using his laws to reinforce the barrier. At the same time, the 12 Sky Prides were also attacking the barrier with all their strength. As a result, the barrier could not be set up firmly and was in a stalemate. After all, once Wang Mang succeeded in setting up the barrier, they would all die. Therefore, they had to resist with all their strength. Otherwise, they would really die. These guys' resistance made Wang Mang feel very helpless. He could feel that if he sealed the barrier, it would be safest to directly use 6 third-level Supreme Realm Sky Prides. If there were more than that, he might not be able to seal it. For example, the current situation. Wang Mang was in a difficult position. Damn it, what should I do here? Just as Wang Mang was having a headache, a figure suddenly flew over from afar. When he sensed this figure, Wang Mang was instantly shocked. That was because this figure's aura had also reached the 4th level of the Supreme Realm. Soon, this figure appeared in the sky not far away from Wang Mang. At the same time, Wang Mang also saw the golden words above this young Sky Pride's head. Chu Shui, ranking on the Emperor leaderboard, 2,776. Obviously, this was also a Sky Pride of the same level as Wang Mang. At this moment, Chu Shui lowered his head and smiled at Wang Mang. Fellow cultivator, let me help you. As he spoke, Chu Shui set up another barrier outside Wang Mang's barrier. He sealed Wang Mang and himself in the barrier. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's face instantly darkened. This guy definitely came to help him to split the profits. As expected, Chu Shui, who was setting up the barrier with all his might, smiled at Wang Mang and said, "You can't take them down alone, of course. If I'm with you, of course, there won't be a problem. Fellow cultivator, it shouldn't be a problem for me to split half of these 12 Sky Prides, right?" Hearing this, although Wang Mang was unhappy, after thinking for a while, he nodded indifferently and said, "All right, no problem." The reason why Wang Mang agreed was mainly because he was afraid that something unexpected would happen. That was because a 4th Heaven Supreme Realm cultivator was not a top hunter here. On the contrary, only a legendary Sky Pride of the 6th Heaven Supreme Realm could be considered a top hunter here. If they delayed for too long and a 5th Heaven Supreme Realm Sky Pride came, they would all die. Seeing that Wang Mang had agreed, Chu Shui nodded in satisfaction and began setting up the barrier with all his might. Seeing this, the dozen or so Sky Prides trapped in Wang Mang's barrier were all in despair. If it was just Wang Mang alone, they would have a 50% chance of escaping. But now that another 4th Heaven Supreme Realm Sky Pride of the Emperor leaderboard had joined the fray, their chances of escaping were 0. At the same time, after a few minutes, Chu Shui had finished setting up a rather thick barrier. Seeing this, Wang Mang gave up on the idea of continuing to set up the barrier. That was because the 12 Third Heaven Supreme Realm Sky Prides in the barrier had already given up on struggling. At the same time, after setting up the barrier, Chu Shui smiled at Wang Mang and said, "Fellow cultivator, I won't hold back." After saying that, he bombarded the spirit formation Wang Mang had set up. After several attacks, the spirit formation Wang Mang had set up collapsed. Seeing this, Wang Mang naturally did not want to be outdone and also prepared to hunt down Sky Prides. But at that moment, a loud laugh came from afar. Good. Looks like my luck is pretty good." Hearing this, both Chu Shui and Wang Mang's expressions changed drastically. Wang Mang subconsciously looked at the sky in the distance. He saw a red streak of light flying over. In the blink of an eye, it was right in front of him. It was a 5th Heaven Supreme Realm Sky Pride. What was even more disgusting was that this person was not even on the Emperor leaderboard. There was no ranking on the Emperor leaderboard above his head. Also, when the red-robed Sky Pride saw Wang Mang and the others, he was so excited that he started laughing maniacally. "Damn, such a good thing happened to me. This is simply happiness came too suddenly. Chapter 871. Obviously, there was a reason for this prodigy to be so excited. He was just wandering around the vast wilderness hunting prodigies. Under normal circumstances, once a prodigy sensed his aura, they would immediately flee. Although he also gained something from hunting prodigies, it was definitely not as big as this. After all, the prodigies were not fools who would just stand there and let him kill them. Moreover, it was really rare to encounter a situation like this. At this moment, after hearing this guy's words, both Wang Mang and Chu Shuai's faces were extremely ugly. What they were most worried about still happened. What the F***CK, hunting others. Now they were dumbfounded. However, as soon as they set up the barrier, an even stronger one came. It was no wonder that this red-robed prodigy was so excited. If it were Wang Mang, he would probably be bursting with laughter. What AF***king coincidence? What AF***king cliché? Because after Wang Mang and Chu Shuai set up the barrier, he had completely trapped himself inside the barrier. The two of them looked at the red-robed prodigy who was excitedly setting up the barrier. Both Wang Mang and Chu Shuai's faces were extremely gloomy and ugly. Moreover, Wang Mang and Chu Shuai couldn't stop them at all. They were trapped in the barrier they set up. After they blasted the barrier open, this red-robed prodigy had already set up the barrier. They were still doomed. Seeing this scene, Chu Shuai looked at Wang Mang with an ugly expression and said, "Fellow cultivator, what should we do now?" Hearing this, Wang Mang's face was gloomy and his eyes flickered. However, Wang Mang had already cursed in his heart. "Why are you asking me? How would I know? I also want to know what to do. If I knew what to do, why would I talk nonsense with you?" Just as Wang Mang's face was extremely ugly and he was extremely embarrassed, the original 12 prodigies all laughed out loud when they saw this. "Aha, you wanted to hunt us, but have you ever thought that you would also be hunted by others? If you want to die, let's die together. Now, no one will have a good time. Even if I die now, I can die in peace. At least this guy will be buried with us. In the reincarnation of the great Tao, who will the heavens spare? Lier, perhaps I won't be able to come back anymore. It's a pity that I can't continue to protect you." After hearing what the 12 Sky Prides said, Wang Mang and Chu Shuai's faces turned even uglier. Wang Mang's expression turned even colder as he said coldly, "Even if we die, we'll kill them all first." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Shuai's face was filled with murderous intent. "I think it's fine. Wang Mang, send these guys on their way first." Clearly, the words of the group of Sky Prides had angered him. Hearing this, the fearless heaven's favorites' expressions changed. They could no longer be happy. At the same time, the red-robed genius, who was setting up the enchantment, turned pale and shouted angrily, "Don't act recklessly. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you with 1,000 cuts." This was because once Wang Mang and Chu Shuai killed the 12 elites, they would definitely be killed. Then, his gains would be greatly reduced. Hearing this, Wang Mang sneered and attacked without hesitation. Similarly, after seeing Wang Mang attack, Chu Shuai did not want to be outdone. After seeing Wang Mang and Chu Shuai charging over, the 12 elites were shocked and furious. "Die for this seat." At this moment, Wang Mang took out his silver dragon spear and rushed towards one of the Sky Prides. Seeing Wang Mang rushing over, the Sky Prides immediately roared, "Get lost!" At the same time, the Sky Prides directly used a divine ability to attack Wang Mang. Unfortunately, Wang Mang did not care at all and rushed forward with his spear. Rumble, accompanied by a loud bang. The divine ability of the Sky Prides bombarded Wang Mang. Unfortunately, it did not hurt Wang Mang at all. On the contrary, when the Sky Prides was about to resist, Wang Mang's silver dragon spear had already pierced through his chest. In fact, when the Sky Prides was about to make a final struggle, Wang Mang's upper body had already transformed into a python's body and swallowed him into his mouth. Similarly, on the other side, Chu Shuai was not slow either. After Wang Mang killed the Sky Prides, he also killed and devoured his Sky Prides. Seeing this scene, The red-robed sky prides who were setting up the barrier suddenly looked ferocious and furious. "You all deserve to die. I'm going to tear you into pieces." While speaking, the red-robed sky prides also sped up the speed of setting up the barrier. But in less than 2 hours, Wang Mang and Chu Shuai had already killed the 12 legendary sky prides. Yes, the difference of a small realm in the extreme realm was a massacre. At the same time, the red-robed sky prides who had just finished setting up the barrier looked at Wang Mang and Chu Shuai with a ferocious face and said coldly, "You two bastards! How dare you kill so many of my legendary sky prides? I'm going to make you suffer a fate worse than death." While speaking, the red-robed sky prides raised his hand and began to bombard the barrier set up by Wang Mang and Chu Shuai. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang and Chu Shuai did not hesitate and continued to set up the barrier, even if it could only delay a little. But it was better than facing this guy directly. At the same time, Wang Mang also made up his mind and directly said in his heart, "System, use the lower 6th grade bad luck card. Use the target, the red-robed sky prides in front of me." The next moment, the system's voice also sounded. "Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully used the lower 6th grade bad luck card. Ding! Warm reminder. The target will enter a bad luck state in the next 24 hours. If it's light, it will be extremely unlucky. If it's heavy, it will be in danger of death." After listening to the system's voice, only then did Wang Mang breathe a sigh of relief. Now he could only wait and see if the situation was too dangerous. In that case, Wang Mang could only go to the journey to the west. Fortunately, he had the king's token. Even if he went to the west, it should not be considered as giving up the qualification to conquer the universe. The next moment, Wang Mang's whole body shook. His eyes stared at the barrier. The terrifying power of the laws was still pouring into the barrier. But at this moment, the barrier was already on the verge of collapse. Seeing this scene, Chu Shuai was even more at a loss. He looked at Wang Mang with a panicked expression and said with a gloomy face, "Fellow cultivator, what should we do now? If the barrier is shattered, the two of us will not be able to hold on for more than 3 hours, and will be killed by this guy." Hearing this, Wang Mang's face was also full of hesitation. He even used the lower 6th grade bad luck card now. But Wang Mang felt that it was not safe. He now had 2 choices. He chose to use the pseudo 6th grade good luck card. In this way, he might be able to get through this dangerous situation safely with the blessing of good luck. The other was to go to the west and hide first. Thinking of this, Wang Mang hesitated. In the end, he gave up the idea of using the good luck card. This good luck card was for his next evolution. Thinking of this, Wang Mang said to Chu Shuai helplessly, "Fellow cultivator, good luck. I have already used the bad luck talisman on this guy. If you can hold on for an hour, you will definitely have a chance to live." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Shuai was stunned. Obviously, he did not react. He stared at Wang Mang with his eyes wide open and asked subconsciously, What about you?" Chapter 872. Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned. Then he grinned and said, "I'll go hide first, or wait for death." Hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Shuai was pleasantly surprised. "Fellow cultivator, you have a way to get out of here?" Under Chu Shuai's expectant gaze, Wang Mang nodded slightly. Seeing Wang Mang admit it, Chu Shuai was overjoyed. "Fellow cultivator, let's go quickly. This barrier won't last much longer." Hearing this, Wang Mang shook his head helplessly and said, "I can only escape by myself. As for fellow cultivator, I can't help." Hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Shuai immediately collapsed. He looked at Wang Mang in panic and said in a panicked tone, "What about me? Fellow cultivator? Fellow cultivator, don't abandon me." Hearing this, Wang Mang was about to speak, but he suddenly glanced at the barrier that was about to collapse. Then, Wang Mang activated the 5-color teleportation stone without hesitation. In the next moment, Wang Mang completely disappeared. Seeing this, Chu Shuai immediately collapsed and shouted in horror, "Fellow cultivator, please don't leave me behind. Save me." After saying that, Chu Shui also prepared to use the law of space to escape. But what made him collapse was that the law of space here was too strong. His law of space was not enough to tear open the space at all. Even the space in the area where Wang Mang had disappeared was relatively weak. Unfortunately, his law of space was still not enough to tear open the space. Don't forget, even if they used all their divine abilities, they could not tear open the space. Not to mention that it was simply impossible to tear open the space for no reason. Therefore, after trying to no avail, Chu Shui completely panicked. But at this moment, a violent explosion sounded. After looking up, Chu Shui saw a scene that made him collapse. At this moment, the barrier had already exploded, and the red-robed genius was looking at him with a ferocious face full of murderous intent. After seeing this scene, Chu Shui only felt his body tremble, and his face became extremely pale. In desperation, Chu Shui remembered what Wang Mang had said. Wang Mang had already used his bad luck talisman on this guy. If the time was delayed long enough, then he still had a chance of survival. With this thought in mind, Chu Shui began to frantically think about how to stall for time. At the same time, at this moment in the untainted world, after Wang Mang reappeared in the world of Journey to the West. Throughout the journey to the West, a terrifying aura swept through the entire untainted world. For a time, the experts of the three realms all looked towards Wang Mang with terrified gazes. What was even more shocking was that under Wang Mang's terrifying aura, Wang Mang's aura was extremely terrifying. Countless people fell to their knees. For a moment, in the vast world of Journey to the West, no matter if it was a human, a demon, an immortal, a god, or a Buddha, at this moment, they were all forced to kneel on the ground by the terrifying residual power that blotted out the sky. It didn't matter if they were quasi-sages or sages. There were no exceptions. At this moment, outside the 33rd heaven, Hong Jun, who was in the Purple Cloud Palace, was also shocked by Wang Mang's terrifying aura. This aura was too powerful. It was far beyond that of a sage. In fact, it was the same. Even he, Hong Jun, could not help but bend down under the pressure of this terrifying residual power. If it weren't for the power of the heavenly Tao in the untainted world, he would have been forced to kneel down. This also shocked Hong Jun. His old face was filled with fear. Who is it? Such a terrifying aura. Could it be that a sixth-order expert has appeared? Similarly, the Grand Master of Heaven and the demon ancestor Rahu in the demon realm were also shocked. Under this terrifying pressure, Yi Zichen was stunned. The Grand Master of Heaven couldn't resist the pressure and knelt down with a plop. Not only that, the Grand Master of Heaven also realized that he couldn't resist this pressure at all. Under this terrifying pressure, he felt as small as an ant. This made the Grand Master of Heaven feel extremely incredulous. He was a fifth-level saint. He had just broken through not long ago. Yet, he couldn't resist a wave of pressure. However, just as the Grand Master of Heaven was doubting his life, plop, the demon ancestor Rahu was also forced to kneel beside him by this pressure. Seeing the Grand Master of Heaven's incredulous expression, the demon ancestor Rahu smiled bitterly and said, "The strength of the person who came has probably reached the sixth order. Otherwise, how could it be so terrifying?" Hearing this, the Grand Master of Heaven was relieved. At the same time, at this moment, Wang Mang, who was standing proudly in the sky, looking at the countless living beings kneeling on the ground in the entire untainted world, he couldn't help but be stunned. He couldn't help but be stunned. He never thought that he would return to the journey to the West this time. The living beings of the West actually welcomed him in such a way. Moreover, after Wang Mang's divine consciousness scanned the journey to the West chaos world, he realized that not only were these living beings kneeling, but even the demon ancestor Rahu and the Grand Master of Heaven were kneeling. In a pure land of the Buddhist sect, the 3,000 Buddhas were all kneeling. Even Laozi, Niwa, the primordial heavenly lord, and Zhuan Ti, who were hiding outside the 33 heavens, received them, as well as the Lady of Earth in the underworld. At this moment, all of them were kneeling under his pressure without exception. The only one who did not kneel was Tao ancestor Hong Jun. Under the support of the power of the heavenly Tao, he was only forced to bend his back. After seeing this scene, Wang Mang immediately reacted. His current strength had already surpassed the primordial world. That was because even the primordial world had a strong repulsive force against him. However, to Wang Mang, this was something he could do without. In fact, the spatial barrier around Wang Mang was distorted and chaotic. It could be said that Wang Mang could tear apart the space of the primordial world with a wave of his hand. If the barrier here was said to be indestructible to Wang Mang in the past, then it was now an impenetrable barrier. But now, this so-called space barrier was nothing more than paper in front of him. At the thought of this, Wang Mang could not help but be in high spirits. He was in a good mood. How long had it been? In the blink of an eye, he was invincible in the journey to the west. With that thought, Wang Mang was in a good mood. But soon, Wang Mang restrained his aura. There was no other reason. He did not want to interfere and break the current situation of the journey to the west. When he broke through to rank 6, he would naturally return to refine the journey to the west. Therefore, Wang Mang stayed in the journey to the west for a few days in a low-key manner. He used the 5-color teleportation stone to return to the path of conquering the heavens. When Wang Mang appeared out of thin air in the great desolate forest again, he discovered that the barrier here had disappeared. Not only that, he could tell from the aura in the air. Not long ago, at least a few paragons of the 5th level of the extreme realm had stopped here. Regarding this, Wang Mang could not help but feel happy. This proved that his decision to go to the primordial world was very correct. Moreover, the Emperor ranking did not announce that he had lost the qualifications to conquer the path of conquering the heavens. This also confirmed his conjecture. Under the circumstances where he had the king token, he could indeed run back and forth between the two worlds. Of course, there was an exception in the battle arena. After all, the great Emperor of Ancient also had the king token, but he still died in the battle arena. This proved that the barrier in the battle arena was very powerful, or rather, the great Emperor of Ancient did not even have a chance to escape. Thinking of this, Wang Mang was in a good mood. He flew towards the 11th city, preparing to sell the useless pseudo-rank 6 divine abilities and divine weapons. While he was on his way to the 11th city, Wang Mang also tidied up while he was at it. The storage rings of 6 mythical paragons of the 3rd level of the extreme realm. But what disappointed Wang Mang was that these 6 guys were really poor. There was nothing valuable at all. Instead, he obtained 500 talent stones. This also made Wang Mang's talent stones reach 800. This also made Wang Mang feel a lot more gratified. Soon, Wang Mang arrived at the 11th city. But just as Wang Mang entered the city, an extremely handsome paragon walked towards him. When Wang Mang got a good look at this prodigy's face, Wang Mang was completely stunned. What the hell? My eyes must be playing tricks on me, right? He can also ascend the path of conquering the heavens. Chapter 873. Because of the young man in front of him. It was the person that Wang Mang never expected. This person was none other than him. It was the young man who F***ed the pig in the past. North Tomb. Back then, Wang Mang was told by Wang Mang, to become a dragon and elephant, one must first be an ox and a horse. He was tricked into F***ing a pig on the street. This matter was still fresh in Wang Mang's mind, because this was the most miserable young man that he had ever tricked. Therefore, Wang Mang naturally did not forget this guy. But this guy still appeared here. This really subverted Wang Mang's understanding. A young man who F***ed a pig in the past. He could actually reach this step? Oh my god, could it be that he was tricking him in the past? Did he really make this kid achieve enlightenment and soar into the sky? What Wang Mang did not know was, in fact, this was really the case. Ever since he F***ed a pig in the North Tomb, his state of mind could be said to be extremely determined. It could be said that he could endure any humiliation. He had experienced countless difficulties along the way. He had gritted his teeth and endured step by step. Every time he could not hold on any longer, North Tomb would remember what Wang Mang said to him. To become a dragon and elephant, one must first be an ox and a horse. Therefore, he could endure things that ordinary people could not. He could also endure grievances that ordinary people could not endure. His heart was filled with determination. In the end, he rose from an ant. In the end, he succeeded. He climbed up the peak step by step. He had lived until now. Later on, even when he entered the universe of the heavens, he was also trembling with fear, careful, and persevering along the way. But later on, his life was like a cheat. It could be said that he had one fortuitous encounter after another. Later on, when he encountered danger, he was always able to turn it into safety. He could be said to be the template of a protagonist in a novel. In the end, he unknowingly embarked on the path of conquering the heavens and came to the 11th city. At this moment, when Wang Mang was in a state of shock, North Tomb also saw Wang Mang. When he saw Wang Mang, North Tomb was stunned at first. Then, his eyes widened and his face was full of astonishment, because he did not expect to meet Wang Mang. Even though Wang Mang was his first teacher, he still remembered that Wang Mang was his first teacher. Not even the North Tomb believed that Wang Mang's accomplishments were greater than his own. That was because the rest of his life was too legendary. He could be said to be the true prodigy of the half-beast continent. Even the setbacks of the quest could not defeat him. That was why he had achieved what he had today. However, Bei Mu didn't expect that he would be able to meet his teacher again. Moreover, they were on the path of conquering the myriad worlds. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Similarly, the strength of his own teacher. This also made him extremely shocked. His teacher's strength was above his own. He had reached the 4th level of the Lamita realm. His own strength was only at the 2nd firmament of the Supreme Realm, as expected of the master of the Northern Tomb. At this thought, Bei Mu's handsome face lit up with joy as he walked towards Wang Mang. "Teacher, I really didn't expect to meet you again in this life." As he spoke, Bei Mu shook Wang Mang's hand emotionally. His eyes were filled with gratitude. Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned. What the F***CK? This guy didn't blame me for tricking him back then, and he was so grateful to me? The other party's eyes didn't seem to be fake. For a moment, Wang Mang was stunned. Logically speaking, this guy met him. He should blame him. But this guy was grateful to him instead? Could it be that my tricking back then made him who he is now? Or could it be that I really have the talent to teach disciples? At this moment, Wang Mang looked at Bei Mu in front of him and began to doubt his life. "Teacher? Teacher? What's wrong with you?" Understanding this scene, Bei Mu waved his hand in confusion. After coming back to his senses, Wang Mang immediately looked gratified and patted Bei Mu's shoulder. "I almost couldn't recognize you. Seeing your current achievements, I'm very gratified." Hearing this, Bei Mu immediately grinned modestly and said, "If it wasn't for your guidance, I wouldn't be where I am today." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately rolled his eyes and said slowly, "Disciple, do you need a pseudo-6th level divine ability?" Hearing this, Bei Mu was stunned at first, then looked at Wang Mang with a face full of joy and said excitedly, "Teacher, are you going to give me a divine ability?" Wang Mang was speechless. "Give you a divine ability? What the hell are you thinking? I think you're stupid and easy to trick." Thinking of this, Wang Mang pondered and said, "How about this? I can sell it to you at a low price. The price is negotiable. I have 2 pseudo-6th level divine abilities and pseudo-6th level divine weapons. Among them, I have a pseudo-6th level divine weapon, Flaming Divine Staff, White Demon Sword. Also, I have a pseudo-6th level divine ability, Healing Light, the pinnacle of combat strength." Speaking of this, Wang Mang paused and said slowly, "If there's anything you want, you can tell me." Hearing this, Bei Mu was shocked and his face was full of shock. "Good guy. As expected of my teacher, he already has so many pseudo-6th level divine abilities and pseudo-6th level divine weapons for sale. One must know that he did not have a pseudo-6th level divine weapon of his own. As for the pseudo-6th level divine ability, he only had one. Of course, it was normal that he only had one divine ability. Wang Meng only had 2 pseudo-6 level divine abilities. After hesitating for a while, Bei Mu looked at Wang Meng and said eagerly, "Teacher, can you introduce them to me in detail?" Hearing that, Wang Meng hesitated for a moment. Then he began to walk toward the city as he introduced the city to Bei Mu. After hearing Wang Meng's introduction, Bei Mu looked conflicted. "Teacher, I want a divine ability and a pseudo-6 level divine weapon. I'm so conflicted." Sigh. Hearing this, Wang Meng put his hands behind his back and chuckled. "Think about it carefully. Whether you want to buy a divine ability or a pseudo-6 level divine weapon, I'll give you a discount. Moreover, whether it's a divine weapon or a divine ability, even if you don't want to use it after using it, you can still sell it. It can be said that whether it's a divine weapon or a divine ability, it's a sure win." Hearing this, Bei Mu nodded in agreement. Because this was the truth. A myth prodigy would not be the first to advance to Lesser Sovereign. Even if all the conditions were met, they would not advance to Lesser Sovereign. They would improve their battle strength to match the strength of a Lesser Sovereign. Otherwise, once they reached Lesser Sovereign, they would easily die in the hands of other Lesser Sovereigns. As for harvesting after becoming a Lesser Sovereign, you think too much. Once a new Lesser Sovereign appeared, the Lesser Sovereigns would be killed. The Lesser Sovereigns of the 12 cities would come to harvest. Without enough strength, they would be harvested by other sovereigns. Because Lesser Sovereigns could only harvest Lesser Sovereigns, the talent value provided by a myth prodigy was almost negligible. Only by hunting Lesser Sovereigns of the same level could one obtain a large amount of talent value. This was also the reason why many Heaven's Pride would improve their battle strength. If they were not strong enough after becoming a Lesser Sovereign, they would be harvested by other Lesser Sovereigns. This was the inevitable result, because Lesser Sovereigns would devour myth prodigies. The talent value obtained would be greatly reduced. Moreover, it was a very serious reduction. Otherwise, Lesser Sovereigns who had the King's token, why wouldn't they be willing to harvest the 11 cities? At this moment, Bei Mu looked up at Wang Meng and said with a serious expression, "Teacher, I've decided. I want to buy the White Demon Sword." Chapter 874. After looking at Bei Mu, who had been deep in thought for a long time, he gave an answer. Wang Meng was dumbfounded. This kid, did he know that the White Demon Sword was about to expire? Was he here to help his master solve his urgent problem? To be honest, Wang Meng was still hesitating in his heart. Should he sell the White Demon Sword to this kid or not? The main thing was that this guy was too easy to fool. He didn't even recommend it to Bei Mu. This kid insisted on buying it. If he really wanted to sell it to this kid. To be honest, Wang Meng felt a little guilty. Thinking of this, Wang Meng frowned and said, "Why don't you look at something else?" After hearing Wang Meng's words, Bei Mu was stunned and hesitated. "Master, don't you want to sell this divine weapon?" Hearing this, Wang Meng was speechless. "Of course I want to sell it, but we've known each other for a while. I can't bear to cheat you because of our old friendship, because in a few days, the White Demon Sword would completely degrade to a 5th level divine weapon. At that time, thousands of talent stones would be wasted. Even if the ratio of talent stones to talent points was 0.5 to 1, it was still a considerable amount of talent points. Yes, talent stones were for legendary prodigies. A talent stone was only worth 0.5 talent points. Therefore, after a moment of silence, Wang Meng resisted the idea of cheating Bei Mu. He nodded and said, "That's right. I really don't want to sell this White Demon Sword." After hearing Wang Meng's words, Bei Mu immediately understood. "Master, I choose the pseudo-6th level divine ability, Healing Light." Hearing this, Wang Meng nodded and said, "Okay, I won't sell this divine ability to you for too much. How about this? I'll sell this divine ability to you for 4,500 talent stones. How about that?" After saying that, Wang Meng looked at Bei Mu. Obviously, he wanted to see if Bei Mu was willing to buy it. As for the effect of the Healing Light, it was indeed used to heal injuries, but Wang Meng didn't mention it. This was because he didn't sell the White Demon Sword to the North Tomb. He felt that he had already treated the kid very well. At that time, if the problem was discovered to be wrong, this brat could also find a buyer and sell the divine art. After hesitating for a moment, North Tomb gritted his teeth and said, "Master, wait for me. I'll go find my Tao companion." Hearing this, Wang Mang was stunned at first, then nodded and said, "Go and come back quickly." Hearing this, Beimu nodded and walked into the depths of the city. Fortunately, Wang Mang did not have to wait for long. Wang Mang saw the North Tomb coming over with a minotaur. This minotaur's head was that of a cow, but her figure was extremely hot. She was obviously a female, there was no doubt about that. However, this scene left Wang Mang dumbfounded. What guy? The Taoist companion of the North Tomb was a beautiful minotaur. What made Wang Mang's expression even more serious was that this beautiful minotaur had actually reached the strength of the fifth firmament of the supreme realm. In other words, this North Tomb guy was doing better than him. Thinking of this, Wang Mang was speechless. He could only say that North Tomb really had a good appetite. No wonder he could achieve what he had today. At this moment, Wang Mang finally understood. King, it was definitely not a coincidence. Doing what others could not do. Loving what others could not love. Doing what others could not do. It was not strange at all that he had today's achievements. Moreover, judging from the Black Minotaur Beauty's attitude towards North Tomb, Wang Mang could sense that North Tomb had a very high position in the Minotaur Beauty's heart. Master, this is my Tao companion, Princess Nyo. Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately smiled and nodded. I see. I wish you both eternal companionship. After hearing Wang Mang's words, North Tomb and Princess Nyo looked at each other and smiled. Then, North Tomb took out a space ring and said with a smile, "Master, please count the amount." Hearing this, Wang Mang nodded without batting an eyelid. After taking the storage ring, Wang Mang's divine consciousness entered it. To Wang Mang's surprise, there were really 4,500 talent stones in the storage ring. Seeing this, Wang Mang did not waste any time and took out a jade slip from space. This white jade slip was the pseudo-rank 6 superpower, Healing Light. Then, Wang Mang immediately swore an oath. I promise that I will never reveal the pseudo-rank 6 superpower, Healing Light. If I violate this oath, I, Wang Mang, will have my great Tao destroyed. After hearing Wang Mang's words, North Tomb quickly said, "Master, you don't have to do this. I believe you." Hearing this, Wang Mang waved his hand and said, "All right, I've sold the superpower to you. We'll meet again if fate allows." After saying that, Wang Mang walked towards the bustling part of the city, because he still had to continue selling superpower and divine weapons. Soon, Wang Mang arrived at a street shop that specialized in selling superpower and divine weapons. It was worth mentioning that there were quite a number of prodigies here, and it was quite lively. Moreover, Wang Mang realized that the prodigies here were generally more powerful than those in other places. Most of them were at the third heaven of the Supreme Realm, and the most powerful ones were at the sixth heaven of the Supreme Realm. Moreover, these prodigy vendors even placed the superpower jade slips and pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons in front of the stall. Besides that, Wang Mang also looked at the prices of these prodigy vendors for a while. After looking at it for a while, Wang Mang also found a seat. Then, he immediately set up the stall. As to why he chose this place, because there were a lot of prodigies here. Therefore, just as Wang Mang set up the stall, it immediately attracted the attention of many prodigies. One of the young prodigies at the fifth heaven of the Supreme Realm had his eyes lit up. Then he asked Wang Mang, "How much is this labeled White Demon Sword?" Hearing that, Wang Mang was stunned and raised his head to look at the young prodigy. He saw that there was a line of golden words above the prodigy's head. Chu Yunfei, ranking on the Emperor leaderboard, 1251. After reading this guy's information, Wang Mang was immediately startled. This guy's strength was really not weak. He was not much weaker than the red-robed prodigy who had hunted him back then. After coming back to his senses, Wang Mang immediately smiled enthusiastically and said, 3,200 talent stones, no bargaining." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Yunfei frowned slightly, but still nodded and said, "Okay, 3,200 talent stones. I'll take it. Seeing that this guy agreed to the price without bargaining, Wang Mang was completely dumbfounded. What the F***CK? Is this white demon sword so popular? Just as Wang Mang was puzzled, another voice sounded from afar. Wait, I'll pay 3,300 talent stones. Wang Mang, who was about to make the deal, was stunned again. When Wan Nungbao looked over, he saw a burly man with a dog's head walking over from the street in the distance. Moreover, what shocked Wang Mang even more was that this dog-headed half-orc prodigy had also reached the fifth heaven of the supreme realm. In addition, this guy was also a prodigy on the Emperor leaderboard. There was a line of golden words above his head. Orcs will never be slaves. Ranking on the Emperor leaderboard, 1055. This guy's strength was obviously on par with Chu Yunfei's. Seeing this, Chu Yunfei's face instantly darkened, and he said coldly, as expected of a bastard, "You're really haunting me." Hearing that, the dog-headed half-orc grinned and said, "I can pay a higher price than you. What can you do about it? If you don't believe me, you can ask this brother if he's willing to sell it to you." Seeing this, Wang Mang was instantly overjoyed. He quickly smiled and said, "In business, the highest bidder wins." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Yunfei's face darkened, and he gritted his teeth and said, 3,500 talent stones. Chapter 875. Then, Chu Yunfei ignored the dog-headed beast man. Instead, he looked at Wang Mang expressionlessly and said in a cold tone, "Young man, don't be too greedy. Be careful not to bring death upon yourself." Hearing that, the dog-headed beast man sneered. "What? Are you afraid that I'll raise the price, and now you're threatening me?" Hearing that, Wang Mang's expression turned ugly. If this guy wasn't at the fifth firmament of the Supreme Realm, Wang Mang would definitely start cursing out loud. Of course, since this guy wanted it so much. Then, he would sell it to him. With that thought, Wang Mang smiled brightly and said, "I don't care if you raise the price or not. I'll sell it to you for 3,500 talent stones." Hearing Wang Mang's words, Chu Yunfei glanced at Wang Mang in satisfaction, thinking that his threat had worked. Then, he said expressionlessly, 3,200 talent stones, and I won't cause you any trouble." Hearing that, before Wang Mang could say anything, the dog-headed beast man grinned at Chu Yunfei. "Who do you think you are? Boss, sell it to me for 3,500 talent stones." Obviously, Wang Mang was afraid of Chu Yunfei, but he wasn't afraid of Chu Yunfei. Moreover, he had been in conflict with Chu Yunfei for a long time. It could be said that they hated each other deeply. Therefore, as long as he could make Chu Yunfei unhappy, he didn't care even if he had to spend more talent stones. Hearing that, Wang Mang was in a dilemma. He looked at Chu Yunfei and said calmly, "If you want it, I'll sell it to you for 3,500 talent stones on a first-come, first-served basis. Also, you don't have to threaten me unless you can guard me forever." Hearing Wang Mang's words, Hua Yunfei's expression turned ugly. He threw out a storage ring and said coldly, "Check it." Hearing that, Wang Mang didn't care. After checking it and confirming that there were indeed 3,500 talent stones, he nodded and said, "Okay, you could take the white demon sword." Hearing that, Chu Yunfei waved his hand and took away the white demon sword. He then left without looking back, ignoring Wang Mang and the dog-headed orc. After Chu Yunfei left, the kobold half-beast looked at Wang Mang and revealed a cruel smile. "Brat, you'd rather sell it to him than to me? You are afraid of offending him, but are you not afraid of offending me?" Hearing this, Wang Mang was speechless. "Fellow cultivator, why are you making things difficult for me? I have no enmity with you, fellow Taoist. Furthermore, fellow Taoist, you're not suited to using swords. The way I see it, this flaming divine staff is more suitable for fellow Taoist." Hearing that, the dog-headed beastman looked at Wang Mang's stall at the thick, crimson flame divine staff. "Is this a weapon exclusive to the laws of fire?" Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately smiled and nodded. "Although this is a weapon exclusive to the laws of fire, It won't affect those who specialize in other laws. Regardless of whether you specialize in the laws of fire or not, I suggest you buy it. If you encounter a prodigy who specializes in the laws of fire, it's not impossible to sell it at a high price. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the dog-headed orc smiled and ignored him. He then turned and left. Seeing this, Wang Mang did not stop him and continued to wait for the fated person. Fortunately, Wang Mang did not have to wait for too long. Another 2 hours passed. A prodigy in a red robe appeared in front of Wang Mang. When he saw this red-robed prodigy, Wang Mang was completely stunned, because this person was not just anyone. It was the red-robed prodigy who had tried to hunt him in Chu Shui. He was also at the fifth heaven of the supreme realm. At this moment, the red-robed prodigy's gaze finally shifted from the flaming divine staff to Wang Mang. But when he saw Wang Mang, this red-robed prodigy was even more shocked and angry. "It's you." Clearly, the handsome paragon in red robes recognized him. Hearing this, Wang Mang also looked at this red-robed prodigy in surprise. Did this guy not have a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon? Wang Mang remained doubtful about this. But what Wang Mang did not know was, last time, after he used the rank 6 unlucky card on this red-robed prodigy, the red-robed prodigy had suffered heavy losses. He had just shattered the barrier and was about to kill Chu Shui. In the end, 5 prodigies of the same level came. If he had not broken the barrier fast enough, he even used a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon as the price to break the barrier that he had set up. He would have died long ago. It could be said that he hunted Wang Mang and Chu Shui, not to mention that he almost lost his life. Both pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons were destroyed. Therefore, Xiang Tianxing hated Wang Mang and Chu Shui very much. For a moment, the two of them could be said to be exceptionally jealous when enemies met. Xiang Tianxing looked at Wang Mang with a face full of murderous intent. He did not hide the hatred in his eyes. Seeing this, Wang Mang's face was full of disdain. "What? Do you still want to kill me here?" After hearing Wang Mang's extremely arrogant words, Xiang Tianxing looked at Wang Mang with a gloomy face and said coldly, "Very well. Don't let me have the chance to kill you." Hearing this, Wang Mang immediately smiled contemptuously at Xiang Tianxing. This instantly made the other party fly into a rage and roar. "Just you wait, you little bastard. I'll kill you sooner or later." Hearing this, Wang Mang did not back down and scolded, "Get lost. Don't affect my business." Xiang Tianxing was so angry that he could not speak. However, after glancing at the flaming divine rod, he suppressed his anger and asked, "If you sell this flaming divine rod to me at a cheap price, how about we forget about our past grievances? I can guarantee that I won't find trouble with you anymore." Hearing this, Wang Mang was so angry that he laughed. "Are you a stupid dog? Do you think I'm afraid of you? The next time you come after me, I'll just run away again." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Xiang Tianxing was so angry that he could not speak. Only then did he remember that Wang Mang had the king's token. This was because not long ago, he had gone to find out how to leave the battle path of the heavens. If he did not want to lose the qualification to fight in the battle path of the heavens, he had to have the king's token. This also meant that he could not threaten Wang Mang. His threat was nothing in Wang Mang's eyes. Yes, after having the king's token, Wang Mang had obtained a great degree of freedom. Similarly, in the battle path of the heavens, his chances of survival had also greatly increased. Thinking of this, Xiang Tianxing's expression turned ugly as he said coldly, "Aren't you a businessman? Then name a price." Hearing this, Wang Mang's heart suddenly moved. He immediately guessed something. This guy was most likely the legendary person who majored in the law of fire. Otherwise, this guy would not have wasted so much time talking nonsense with him. Thinking of this, Wang Mang instantly sneered in his heart. Then he demanded an exorbitant price. "All right, if you really want it, I'll sell it to you for 5,000 talent stones." Chapter 876. After hearing Wang Mang's words, Xiang Tianxing laughed furiously. Xiang Tianxing was so angry that he laughed. His face was twisted with anger as he said, Are you crazy? A pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon for 5,000 talent stones? An ordinary pseudo-rank 6 divine ability is only worth 4,000 talent stones. You dare to sell a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon for the price of a divine ability? Obviously, Xiang Wentian had guessed Wang Mang's thoughts. He wanted to take the opportunity to rip him off. At that moment, the few Shang clan prodigies beside him couldn't help but speak up. Fellow Taoist, why are you so black-hearted at such a young age? Yeah, you're too black-hearted. You're 100 times more black-hearted than us. That's right, fellow Taoist. Our pseudo-rank 6 divine abilities are only sold for 2,000. The highest is not even 3,000. Seems like I'm still too young. The younger generation will surpass us in time. I used to think that I was black-hearted, but after comparing myself to this kid today, I realized that I'm too kind. In an instant, many Shang clan prodigies nearby couldn't help but speak up. After hearing what the Shang clan prodigies said, Wang Mang didn't care at all. That's how business is. Both parties are willing. I didn't force him to buy it. If he doesn't want to buy it, so be it. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the other Shang clan prodigies couldn't take it anymore and said to Xiang Tianxing, fellow Taoist, come to our stall to take a look. Don't worry. Our prices are definitely not as black-hearted as this kid. That's right. Fellow Taoist, feel free to come to our stall. We'll definitely satisfy you. Hearing that, Xiang Tianxing couldn't stand Wang Mang's arrogance and turned to walk to another stall. In less than half an hour, Xiang Tianxing returned dejectedly. Although the divine abilities and pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons sold by the Shang clan prodigies were not bad, the problem was that none of them satisfied him. They were divine weapons exclusive to the laws of fire. This was also within his expectations, as there were too many people who majored in the laws of the 5 elements. Therefore, the divine weapons exclusive to the laws of the 5 elements were very popular in the market. Basically, once they were put up for sale, there would be no lack of sales. Therefore, as long as it wasn't a divine weapon exclusive to unpopular laws, it would be very easy to sell. However, when Xiang Tianxing saw Wang Mang's incomparably arrogant face, he couldn't help but feel angry. However, he still suppressed his anger and gritted his teeth helplessly. Fellow Taoist, please state a reasonable price. 5,000 talent stones, that's too ridiculous. You can even buy 2 ordinary pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons with that. Hearing this, Wang Mang knew that this guy was obviously more knowledgeable than him. It was impossible for him to demand an exorbitant price. Moreover, it would not be easy to meet a prodigy who majored in the law of fire. Perhaps only this guy would be able to sell it for a high price. This was because Wang Mang could tell that this guy had a strong desire to buy the Flaming God Rod. In that case, he would definitely be able to raise the price by quite a bit. After thinking about this, Wang Mang pondered for a while and nodded. Then it should be 4,800 talent stones? After hearing Wang Mang's words, Xiang Tianxing said angrily, "What's the difference between that and not lowering the price?" Hearing that, Wang Mang was silent for a while and said slowly, "How about this? 3,800 talent stones." Xiang Tianxing shook his head and said firmly, "It's still too expensive. I won't consider anything above 3,000 talent stones." Wang Mang smiled in disdain. "This is the last price. If you're not buying it, then get lost. The price is 3,500 talent stones. Don't bargain with me. At most, I'll just put it aside and not sell it." Yes, he did not have the intention to buy the Flaming God Rod. At most, he would keep the Flaming God Rod and try to fuse it with a rank 6 divine weapon when he gathered the 5 divine weapons. Hearing that, Xiang Tianxing was silent for a long time. Then, he looked at Wang Mang with hatred in his eyes and said, "Fine." After that, Xiang Tianxing took out a storage space ring and threw it to Wang Mang. After receiving the ring, Wang Mang looked into it with his divine consciousness. There were indeed 3,500 talent stones in it. Wang Mang nodded in satisfaction. "Okay, no problem. You could take the Flaming God Rod." After hearing Wang Mang's words, Xiang Tianxing, whose heart was bleeding, kept the divine weapon. His heart was bleeding. At the same time, Wang Mang was even happier. That was because he had obtained quite a number of talent stones so far. In just one day, he had sold the pseudo-rank 6 divine power, healing light, and earned 4,500 talent stones. White demon sword, 3,500 talent stones. And the flaming god rod in front of him, 3,500 talent stones, in addition to the 800 talent stones that he originally had. Now, Wang Mang had 12,300 talent stones. That meant that he had 6,150 talent points. After doing the calculations, Wang Mang was stunned. What the hell? I've accumulated so many talent stones unknowingly. If I were to gather more, wouldn't I have gathered enough talent stones to become a junior supreme? Thinking of this, Wang Mang's mood became even more cheerful. Next, he just needed to sell this conning god art. He should be almost done with the mission. Thinking of this, Wang Mang continued to set up his stall to do business. A few days later, at this moment, Wang Mang finally sold this divine power that could increase the enemy's combat strength. Moreover, the price was quite good. He sold a total of 4,200 talent stones. This was mainly because Wang Mang was too good at deceiving people. He kept hinting that the buyer could increase his combat strength by 10%. In the end, this genius naturally couldn't resist the temptation of increasing his combat strength. At this moment, the prodigy who had bought the mystique looked at Wang Mang and smiled. "My name is Luo Wei. How should I address you?" Wang Mang was stunned and smiled guiltily. "So, it's fellow Taoist Luo Wei. Just call me Hao Run." Hearing this, Luo Wei immediately smiled enthusiastically. "Hao Run, wait for my good news. After I kill the enemy, I'll definitely thank you properly." Wang Mang smiled perfunctorily, but in his heart, he muttered to himself, "I'll leave the 11th city later." At the same time, Wang Mang could only hope that this guy would be able to fend for himself. After Luo Wei left, Wang Mang immediately packed up his things and left. At the same time, the system's voice sounded. "Ding! Congratulations, host. Mission completed. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 80 billion energy value. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained immortal emperor-level treasure chest X1. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained immortal emperor-level blind box X1. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was immediately overjoyed. This time, after sorting out his gains, he was confident that he could reach the 5th heaven of the Supreme Realm. Thinking of this, Wang Mang instantly became high-spirited. After that, Wang Mang's footsteps were like the wind as he rapidly left the 11th city. After leaving the 11th city, Wang Mang flew towards the vast and endless wasteland. However, just as he was still on his way, the system's voice sounded again. "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have obtained today's random prize. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained." Chapter 878. The system's voice sounded for the 6th time. "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully obtained 100 billion tons of gold." Damn! I'm so happy. After hearing the announcement, Wang Mang was speechless. He was quite excited when he heard that there were 100 billion tons of gold. In the end, he got nothing. What was the point of giving him 100 billion tons of gold? Right now, he was treating money like dirt. Just as Wang Mang was complaining in his heart, the system's voice sounded for the 7th time. "Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully obtained the 6-color world teleportation stone X1. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang was stunned. The 5-color world teleportation stone compared to the sacred emperor continent and the journey to the west. Then, the 6-color world teleportation stone should be a rank 6 world? Thinking of this, Wang Mang, who was thinking about complaining, was stunned. Awesome. That was awesome. For a moment, Wang Mang was very excited. The higher the level of the world, the more resources there would be, and the more opportunities there would be to become stronger. Therefore, Wang Mang was of course happy, just as Wang Mang was feeling excited. A minute passed. The system's voice sounded for the 8th time. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have successfully obtained the pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon, Dragon Whip. Ding! The accumulation has met the evolution requirements. Begin evolution? No. Yes. Very yes. After listening to the system's announcement, Wang Mang was completely stunned. He didn't expect that the immortal Emperor-level blind box would not only give him 300 billion energy points. Moreover, it would also give him a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon. Yes, very powerful. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but laugh. It could be said that the rewards this time were very plentiful. He had obtained a total of 600 billion energy points and a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon. Wang Mang, who was in a good mood, couldn't help but say in high spirits, "System, begin the evolution." Clearly, Wang Mang couldn't wait to evolve. At this moment, the system's voice sounded. Ding! 600 billion energy values have been successfully deducted. Evolution is in progress. In the next moment, Wang Mang completely lost consciousness during the evolution. At the same time, what Wang Mang didn't know was, in the process of his evolution, at this moment, in a vast forest, it was Chu Yunfei who had bought the white demon sword from him. Right now, he was fighting with a sky pride. The two of them were equally matched. It could be said that the fight had caused the surrounding forest to collapse and the earth to crack. The two of them first clashed with their divine abilities, and they were evenly matched. In the end, the two of them began to compete in melee weapons. Moreover, if Wang Mang was here, they discovered that the person who was arguing with Chu Yunfei was the dog-headed orc. However, after a fierce battle, the two of them separated again. But just as Chu Yunfei was about to attack again, suddenly, the power of law of the white demon sword in his hand dissipated, and it instantly broke into pieces. Seeing this scene, Chu Yunfei was instantly stunned. What was going on? Looking at the broken pieces of the white demon sword, Chu Yunfei immediately collapsed. He had spent 3,500 talent stones to buy this. It actually broke after just one fight. Similarly, Chu Yunfei wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded. The dog-headed orc also widened his eyes, and his face was filled with astonishment. This was a pseudo-6th level divine weapon. How could a pseudo-6th level divine weapon be so easily destroyed? Could it be that his clear sky hammer had automatically become a 6th level divine weapon? After looking at the hammer in his hand, the dog-headed orc confirmed that there was nothing wrong with his weapon. It didn't become a 6th level divine weapon. Then there was only one problem. There was something wrong with the white demon sword that Chu Yunfei had bought. Thinking of this, the dog-headed orc suddenly recalled the scene of Chu Yunfei buying the weapon. Then in just a moment, the dog-headed orc suddenly laughed out loud. Obviously, he already knew where the problem was. There was no need to guess. Obviously, there was something wrong with the pseudo-6th level divine weapon that Wang Mang had sold. No wonder he didn't sell it to him at the same price back then, but insisted on selling it to Chu Yunfei instead. Now it seemed that it was very likely that Chu Yunfei's threat back then had angered the seller. At this moment, Chu Yunfei also realized where the problem was. When he thought of how Wang Mang had sold him a pseudo-6th level divine weapon, he couldn't help but fly into a rage. He had never seen such a situation before, and he had never thought that a pseudo-6th level divine weapon could be forged. At this moment, Chu Yunfei couldn't help but roar, "Damned bastard! I will definitely not let you off." After saying that, Chu Yunfei immediately fled into the depths of the vast wilderness without another word. If he had a pseudo-6th level divine weapon in hand, of course, he wouldn't be afraid of the dog-headed orc. But the problem was that he didn't even have a pseudo-6th level divine weapon. How could he fight against the dog-headed orc? Seeing that Chu Yunfei had fled, the dog-headed orc couldn't help but laugh wildly. This time, don't even think about escaping. After saying that, the dog-headed orc chased after him relentlessly. Obviously, he wasn't willing to give up this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. At the same time, he wasn't the only one who had been screwed over by Wang Mang. in another vast wilderness forest. Liu Wei's face was filled with rage. At this moment, he was being chased by his old enemy. As for the reason, it was because he had learned the pseudo-6th-level divine ability that Wang Mang had sold him, the pinnacle of combat power. Originally, he had wanted to find his old enemy to test out the divine ability. Therefore, after learning the divine ability, he had seized the opportunity to attack his old enemy. In the end, they were evenly matched at first, but when he used the pinnacle of combat power to increase his combat power to defeat his old enemy, he was dumbfounded to find that this divine ability was completely useless. Oh, it wasn't that it was useless. His opponent was even more powerful. He was completely suppressing him. This immediately made Liu Wei extremely angry. He wasn't an idiot. How could he not know that this wasn't a divine ability that increased his combat power? On the contrary, it was a divine ability that increased his opponent's combat power. Thinking of this, Liu Wei was extremely regretful. If he had known earlier, he would have tried out the divine ability after learning it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been chased by his old enemy. In his anger, Liu Wei couldn't help but roar. "How run, you unscrupulous merchant! I curse you to die a horrible death." At the same time, the culprit behind all of this was Wang Mang. Wang Mang slowly woke up from his evolution. When Wang Mang woke up, he could feel that his body was filled with an even more terrifying power of laws. Even his body was more than 10 times stronger. Even when he breathed, it was pure power of laws. At this moment, Wang Mang sized up his body for a long time and couldn't help but sigh. Is this the 5th level of the Supreme Realm? As expected, it's more than 10 times stronger than the 4th level of the Supreme Realm. In a good mood, Wang Mang silently said in his heart, "System, open my personal information." Because Wang Mang wanted to know how many billions of energy values it would take to evolve once. As soon as he finished speaking, his personal information appeared before his eyes. Wang Mang, powerhouse of the heavens, ancestor of the myriad devil. Type, 9 heavens, thunder python. Limit, 850 meters. Realm, 8th level of the divine emperor, legendary genius. Body shape, 830 meters long, 38 meters wide, 1 billion tons in weight. Divine ability, ancient devil tyrant body, perfection, 9 heavens thunder seal, mastery, devouring god art, perfection. Space, 1 bottle of forgotten love water, divine weapon fusion card X1, pseudo rank 6 low-grade bad, luck talisman X1, beastman heterosexual favorable impression card X1. Equipment, supreme mask, silver dragon spear, dragon beating whip, dark saber, talent. 14,000/15,000, lesser supreme. Energy values, 435 billion. Top rank 5 tracking talisman has been exchanged for energy values as compensation, /800 billion. Emperor board ranking, 1888. Chapter 879. After reading his personal information, Wang Mang secretly heaved a sigh of relief. 800 billion energy points was quite a lot, but he had already gathered half of it. No, it should be said that he had gathered half of the energy points. It should be said that it was the Immortal Emperor level blind box and Immortal Emperor level treasure chest. He directly opened 600 billion energy points, allowing him to complete an evolution. Therefore, he did not consume too much of the energy points he had accumulated. Thinking of this, Wang Mang was in a good mood, especially when he saw his ranking. He had already charged into the top 2,000. This also made Wang Mang very happy. Not bad. Very good. Just as Wang Mang was feeling happy, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. The host's current situation has been detected. The host is given the following mission to choose from. Mission 1. Now that you have reached the 5th level of the Supreme Realm, kill 20 mythical prodigies and prove your strength. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 50 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor level treasure chest X1. Mission 2. Now that you have reached the 5th level of the Supreme Realm, Choose to kill 50 mythical prodigies and make a name for yourself. Mission time. Obtain upon completion. Mission reward. 100 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor level treasure chest X1. Immortal Emperor level blind box X1. Mission 3. Now that you have reached the 5th level of the Supreme Realm, choose to kill 100 mythical prodigies of the same level to create momentum for yourself before becoming a Supreme. Mission time. Obtain upon completion. Mission reward. 600 billion energy points. Immortal Emperor level treasure chest X1. Immortal Emperor level blind box X1. After reading the mission issued by the system, Wang Mang was completely dumbfounded. The first and second missions were still manageable. But the problem was that the third mission was too difficult. It was not just 100 mythical prodigies. It was 100 mythical prodigies of the same level. In other words, he had to kill 105th level Supreme Realm prodigies to complete the mission. But it had to be said that if he could really kill 100 mythical prodigies of the same level, then Wang Mang's invincible belief would be piled up even if he did not. Obviously, Wang Mang immediately guessed the system's intention. It was obvious that he wanted to accumulate the belief of being invincible. However, the difficulty of this mission was really high, although the rewards were also very generous. Therefore, Wang Mang thought for a while. In the end, he ruled out the third mission. Who knew how long it would take to complete this mission? Wouldn't it be better for him to kill some of the weaker geniuses? Therefore, Wang Mang did not hesitate to say in his heart, "System, I choose the second mission." The next moment, the system's voice sounded. Ding! Congratulations, host. Mission selected successfully. Please complete the mission as soon as possible to receive the reward. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang nodded in satisfaction. After that, Wang Mang slowly stood up and walked in with his hands behind his back. After arriving outside the cave, Wang Mang sent out a few more palm strikes. The palm shadows that carried the terrifying power of law easily shattered the barrier. After that, Wang Mang flew up to the sky and arrived outside the cave. However, in the next moment, Wang Mang saw a genius flying towards him from afar. Wang Mang was stunned when this heaven's favorite approached. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? The genius was none other than Chu Yunfei, who had bought his pseudo-level 6 divine weapon. At the same time, Chu Yunfei, who was running away in a sorry state, also saw Wang Mang. When he saw Wang Mang, Chu Yunfei, who was running away in frustration, was even more enraged. Wang Mang, that son of a bitch, cheated him of so many talent stones and caused him to be hunted down. All of this was caused by this son of a bitch in front of him. "It's you, you son of a bitch." Chu Yunfei, who was running away, was about to fly towards Wang Mang. However, when Chu Yunfei sensed Wang Mang's aura, his expression couldn't help but change drastically as shock filled his face. How could this be? Not long ago, Wang Mang was only at the 4th heaven of the Supreme Realm. However, it had only been a few days. Wang Mang had actually reached the 5th heaven of the Supreme Realm. He immediately changed his direction and flew into the distance. That was because Wang Mang's strength had already reached the 5th heaven of the Supreme Realm. If he ran over now, he might join forces with the dog-headed beast man to kill him. However, at that moment, Wang Mang also saw the dog-headed beast man chasing after him in the sky. Not only that, when the dog-headed beast man saw Wang Mang, he immediately shouted, "Fellow cultivator, help me stop him. After killing him, all the benefits will be yours." After hearing that, Wang Mang did not hesitate at all. He changed his direction and chased after the dog-headed beast man. When he saw Wang Mang chasing after him, Chu Yunfei was even more furious. He cursed at Wang Mang. "You unscrupulous ****starred. You caused me to suffer heavy losses. Not only did you sell me a fake level 6 divine weapon, you even want to kill me now? How can there be such a shameless person like you in this world?" After hearing Chu Yunfei's curses, Wang Mang did not care at all. He sneered and said, "If you didn't threaten me back then, I might have let you go. Now you want me to let you go? Hee hee, dream on." After seeing Wang Mang's shameless and proud face, Chu Yunfei was so angry that his whole body trembled. However, he did not care about Wang Mang. Instead, he continued to run for his life. As long as he did not stop, it would be impossible for these two fellows who were of the same level to stop him. Seeing that Chu Yunfei was still running and refusing to fight, Wang Mang could not help but mock him. What? Aren't you very powerful? Why are you running now? Aren't you very powerful? Why are you running now? After hearing Wang Mang's mockery, even though Chu Yunfei was incomparably furious, he still did not say anything. He did not want to bother with Wang Mang. He was asking for it. He did not believe that these two fellows could chase him for the rest of his life. If these two people chased him for the rest of his life, he would dare to run for the rest of his life. He would definitely not die. Therefore, after chasing for a period of time, Wang Mang suddenly felt somewhat helpless, because he had used all kinds of methods to provoke him, but Chu Yunfei was still as steady as an old dog. He was still running. This also meant that he could not stop this guy at all. It was like you could never wake up a person who was pretending to be asleep. Similarly, under the same level of battle strength, you would never be able to stop a person who only wanted to run. Furthermore, the opponent was not much weaker than you. Seeing that Wang Mang had given up on chasing him, Chu Yunfei heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he still patiently and steadily began to run like an old dog. He knew that now. He just needed to wear down the dog-headed beastman's patience. At the same time, after giving up on chasing Chu Yunfei, Wang Mang flew towards the depths of the vast wasteland in the distance. However, he did not know if Wang Mang was lucky or if he was just lucky. He had only flown for less than half an hour when he encountered an extremely difficult situation. He saw that in a forest, 30 supreme state prodigies were imprisoned in a barrier. There were a total of 3 layers of the barrier alone. In the innermost layer of the barrier, there were a total of 18 prodigies. Outside the second layer of the barrier, there were another 10 prodigies. Outside the outermost layer of the barrier, there were another 2 prodigies. Moreover, through Wang Mang's observation, the strongest prodigy in the 3rd layer of the barrier was only at the 4th heaven of the supreme state. In other words, if he wanted to hunt, he could completely take down all 30 prodigies. The problem was that Wang Mang was worried that after setting up the barrier, he would encounter an even more terrifying prodigy when he was preparing to hunt down the legendary prodigies. Chapter 880. It was like the law of the jungle. The first 18 pigs attracted even stronger hunters. But when the hunters closed the door and were about to start massacre, suddenly, they realized that even stronger hunters had appeared. Therefore, Wang Mang was hesitant about whether he should enter the trap. But after thinking for a while, Wang Mang could not resist the temptation. 30 legendary prodigies. If he could kill all of them, he would have completed more than half of the mission. Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately rushed out and showed himself. Then, Wang Mang did not hesitate and started to set up a barrier. Because Wang Mang wanted to end the battle quickly, after killing all the prodigies, he immediately retreated. But after seeing this, the 2 prodigies who were about to hunt down the prodigies were scared out of their wits. The excitement on their faces instantly turned to despair. No, why is it like this? This is obviously a pig slaughtering tray. Damn it, if I knew this would happen, I would not have gotten involved in this mess. Fellow cultivator, please let us go. Yes, fellow cultivator, please let us go. Wang Mang completely ignored their pleas for mercy. Moreover, Wang Mang had learned his lesson this time and did not set up a barrier that was too thick. Then, Wang Mang easily blasted open the barrier set up by the 2 prodigies who were about to reach the 4th heaven of the supreme realm. When they saw Wang Mang blast open the barrier, the 2 prodigies were even more desperate. They charged towards Wang Mang crazily. Even if we die, we'll drag you down with us. After saying that, the 2 prodigies immediately charged towards Wang Mang. But just as Wang Mang was about to attack, the 2 prodigies instantly changed directions. They threw the pseudo-stage 6 divine weapon at the barrier and shouted angrily, "Explode!" As soon as he said that, Wang Mang widened his eyes and looked at the barrier he had set up. Under the terrifying explosion of the two pseudo-rank 6 weapons, a huge hole was easily blasted open. Without another word, the two Sky Prides rushed out of the enchantment. At the same time, Wang Mang also heard the two heavenly talents' resentful roars. Slaughter all the dogs on the monarch ranking. I'll remember you. Today's enmity will be repaid with gusto. Looking at the two fleeing figures, Wang Mang's face turned gloomy. Clearly, he hadn't expected that these two fellows would actually think of detonating a pseudo-grade 6 divine weapon. Wang Mang wasn't the only one who hadn't thought of this. Many other prodigies probably hadn't thought of this either. Of course, there was another prerequisite to self-destructing a pseudo-level 6 divine weapon. One must possess a pseudo-level 6 divine weapon. However, Wang Mang had never seen any prodigy with a battle prowess lower than the 4th heaven of the Lammeter. None of them possessed a pseudo-level 6 divine weapon. After regaining his senses, Wang Mang once again set up the enchantment with a gloomy face. This time, the enchantment he set up was much thicker. Although he knew that the remaining prodigies basically didn't even have a pseudo-level 6 divine weapon. However, Wang Mang still wanted to play it safe. After setting up the enchantment, Wang Mang easily blasted open the second layer of the enchantment. Without waiting for these prodigies to resist, Wang Mang swiftly killed this group of prodigies with lightning speed. The system's voice rang out continuously. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully devoured a 6th heaven divine god, legendary prodigy. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 600 million energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 100 talent points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully devoured a 6th heaven divine god, legendary prodigy. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 500 million energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 100 talent points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully devoured a 6th heaven divine god, legendary prodigy. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 600 million energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host! Successfully obtained 100 talent points. Half an hour later, Wang Mang successfully killed and devoured 25 legendary prodigies. As for why he only killed 25 legendary prodigies, originally, there were only 30 legendary prodigies. 2 of them ran away, and 3 of them directly self-destructed. Therefore, Wang Mang only hunted 25 legendary prodigies. Regarding this, Wang Mang was already very satisfied, because Wang Mang didn't expect that it would be so smooth this time. During the hunting process, no stronger prodigies appeared. In fact, Wang Mang even hoped to encounter such good things more often. Of course, Wang Mang also knew that this was just a thought. This kind of situation was too rare. Of course, Wang Mang's harvest was also very big. First of all, Wang Mang had successfully accumulated 2,500 talent points. But Wang Mang wasn't in a hurry to break through to Junior Sovereign. Alright, the main thing was that his strength couldn't keep up. In addition, his battle strength couldn't keep up either. Therefore, Wang Mang prepared to raise his strength first. After all, he was only at the 6th heaven divine god realm when he broke through to Junior Sovereign. He hadn't even broken through to perfection realm. Not to mention, to break through to Junior Sovereign, he still needed 2 more things. He needed the belief of being invincible and 4 pseudo-rank 6 divine abilities. These were the basic conditions to become a Junior Sovereign. But Wang Mang didn't meet these 2 conditions. At this time, the Emperor Board's voice resounded throughout the world. The 189th Battle of the Myriad Worlds of the 188th Battle of the Myriad Worlds has officially begun. First rule, all prodigies, except for those with the King token, are not allowed to stay in the same city for more than a year. Second rule, all prodigies, except for those with the king token, can only move forward bravely. If they retreat or leave the battle of the myriad worlds, they will lose the qualification to fight. Third rule, all prodigies, except for those with the king token, are not allowed to use the teleportation gate in the city. After hearing the voice that resounded throughout the world, Wang Mang was stunned. What the hell? The battle of the myriad worlds of the myriad worlds. Was it officially open now? Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't help but sigh. But he didn't care about the rules notified by the Emperor Board. The reason for that was because those rules were simply non-existent to Wang Mang. This knowledge was just a rule for all prodigies. Those with the king token were not bound by the rules at all. Thinking of this, Wang Mang was in a good mood. He raised his hand and began to bombard the barrier. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Wang Mang blasted open the barrier, because he flew towards the depths of the wasteland. As for what he was going to do, of course, it was to hunt prodigies. Moreover, Wang Mang's target group this time. He also targeted the extremely weak legendary prodigies. It would be best if they were below the third heaven divine god realm. At this time, the system's voice sounded again. Ding! The host's current situation has been detected. The host is given the following mission to choose from. Mission 1. Face the invincible supreme who is about to be born, participate in it, and obtain a 6th-stage divine weapon. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 100 billion energy values. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Mission 2. Face the invincible supreme who is about to be born, participate in it, and obtain a 6th-stage divine ability. Mission time. Obtain upon completion. Mission reward. 200 billion energy values. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Mission 3. Face the invincible supreme who is about to be born, participate in it, and obtain a 6th-stage divine ability and a 6th-stage divine weapon. Mission time. Obtained upon completion. Mission reward. 300 billion energy values. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Designated lucky draw opportunity, X1. Mission 4. Face the invincible supreme who is about to be born, participate in it, and obtain the complete inheritance of the invincible supreme. Mission time. Obtain upon completion. Mission reward. 900 billion energy values. Immortal Emperor-level blind box, X1. Immortal Emperor-level treasure, chest, X1. Designated lucky draw opportunity, X1. Chapter 881. After listening to the mission issued by the system, Wang Mang couldn't help but be stunned. What the F***CK? The path of conquering all realms had officially opened. Why was the tomb of the invincible supreme appearing now? Moreover, it was the tomb of an invincible supreme who was on the supreme list. Without a doubt, Wang Mang didn't need to guess to know that this would definitely attract many geniuses. After all, the supreme tomb was also divided into many parts. An ordinary supreme being's tomb might not hold much attraction for Wang Mang. But an invincible supreme was attractive to Wang Mang again. An invincible supreme who was on the supreme list. To Wang Mang, it was even more attractive. His current foundation was too weak. To become a lesser supreme, he needed 4 pseudo 6th-level supernatural powers and a pseudo 6th-level divine weapon. Moreover, this was the standard for a basic lesser supreme. Who knew what the standard for a greater supreme was? What was the standard for an invincible supreme? But there was no doubt about an invincible supreme. Whether it was a weapon or a supernatural power, they were definitely all in the 6th-level world. Therefore, it was clear at a glance how bad Wang Mang's foundation was. He didn't even have the belief of being invincible, and his foundation was also weak. Therefore, this invincible supreme's tomb, he had no choice but to participate. Or rather, he wanted to make up for his foundation. He had to go to the invincible supreme's tomb, because he had visited so many 11 cities and none of them had 6th-level supernatural powers for sale. In any case, Wang Mang had never heard of any 6th-level supernatural powers being sold in any of the 11 cities. Moreover, even if there were 6th-level supernatural powers, Wang Mang probably wouldn't be able to afford it. Thinking of this, Wang Mang began to hesitate. The difficulty of the first and second missions wasn't much different. The third mission was a bit difficult. Not only did he have to obtain a 6th-level divine weapon, but he also had to obtain a 6th-level supernatural power. However, Wang Mang didn't have much confidence in a 6th-level supernatural power at all, because Wang Mang really couldn't imagine how many geniuses would be attracted by the opening of the Invincible Supreme's tomb. Moreover, this wasn't an ordinary Supreme's tomb. It was the tomb of an Invincible Supreme who was on the Supreme list. Once they received the news, no one would reject it. Wang Mang even had serious doubts. At that time, the little sovereigns would know about it. Most likely, they would all be attracted here. Therefore, there was no need to consider the fourth mission. Furthermore, he had obtained the complete inheritance of an invincible paragon who was ranked on the sovereign leaderboard. Would such a good thing happen to him? Wang Mang didn't think that such a thing would happen to him. Therefore, even if Wang Mang chose Mission 3, he would not choose Mission 4. Mission 4 was basically impossible to complete, and the reward was indeed heaven-defying. Unfortunately, it wasn't his turn. It wouldn't be his turn. With this thought, Wang Mang made a decision. He felt that the first and second missions were the safest. If he worked hard, he could still fight for it, right? The third mission was extremely difficult, but the reward was also very good. The fourth mission was impossible, so he would not consider it. Thus, Wang Mang clenched his teeth and muttered in his heart, "System, I choose the third mission." Clearly, Wang Mang still wanted to give it a try. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen the third mission. The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. "Congratulations, host. You have successfully chosen the mission. Please complete the mission as soon as possible to receive the reward." After listening to the system's voice, Wang Mang couldn't help but ask, "System, where is the tomb of the Invincible Paragon?" The next moment, the system's voice sounded, "Ding. Host, please find it yourself, or pay for the consultation." Hearing this, Wang Mang was speechless. What a good consultation. It was indeed a familiar smell. Unfortunately, Wang Mang had to pay for the consultation, because if he didn't choose to pay for the consultation, he wouldn't be able to find the tomb of the Invincible Paragon. In fact, if he went there a little later, he wouldn't even have the chance to divide the opportunity, because above Wang Mang, there were still 6 Firmament Extreme Realm experts and little sovereigns. There might not be many little sovereigns, but the number of 6 Firmament Extreme Realm experts was definitely not small. Once he was late, this group of 6 Firmament Extreme Realm experts would join forces to seal the tomb of the Invincible Paragon. At that time, he probably wouldn't even have the qualifications to enter the tomb. Since his strength wasn't the best, he had to seize the opportunity first. The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. According to the host's information, the price is 50 billion energy values. Would you like to inquire? Good heavens. 50 billion energy values. That's too shady. It's even more shady than me selling fake goods. For a moment, after hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang almost stomped his feet in anger. The system was too shady. Forget about the shady past. But this time, it had reached the point of madness. Although he was incomparably angry, Wang Mang couldn't do anything. In the end, Wang Mang gritted his teeth and said, "System, inquire information." The next moment, the system's voice sounded frowny-faced ding. 50 billion energy values have been successfully deducted. Ding. Warm reminder to the host. The tomb of the Invincible Paragon is in the Cloud Peak Mountain of the Wasteland. Ding. Warm reminder to the host. 1 day later, the tomb of the Invincible Paragon on the Supreme list will appear. After hearing the system's voice, Wang Mang came to a sudden realization, but he still felt a little distressed. The system only said a few words in the time it took. In the end, it charged 50 billion energy values. Of course, although he was very unhappy, Wang Mang quickly adjusted his emotions. After all, he still needed to find out where the Cloud Peak Mountain of the Wasteland was, because the Wasteland was the general name for this boundless, primitive forest. Moreover, the Wasteland was very magical. Even if the battle destroyed the Big Mask Forest, it would rise from the ground in less than 2 days and recover to its original state. In the process of rushing, Wang Mang also encountered many prodigies. But Wang Mang still suppressed the idea of hunting these prodigies. After all, he had spent 50 billion to buy the information. Buying a chance still made his heart ache. In addition, he didn't have much time. The prodigies could be hunted at any time. However, at this moment, Wang Mang suddenly felt a terrifying aura. This aura was too terrifying. Moreover, Wang Mang was very familiar with it. In the next instant, Wang Mang saw a scene that left him incomparably shocked. In the sky of the wasteland, not far ahead, 2 familiar figures were in the midst of a fierce fight. One of the figures was shrouded in a black robe. The law of darkness covered the sky and the sun. The sky was as dark as ink, as if the end of the world had come. The other figure was the female supreme that Wang Mang was familiar with. At this moment, the 2 of them had turned into 2 rays of light and were fighting fiercely. Wang Mang couldn't see the battle clearly at all. He could only vaguely see their figures. Honestly speaking, Wang Mang was extremely shocked when he saw this scene, because the black-robed figure was none other than someone else. That person was someone Wang Mang was familiar with. He was from the sacred Emperor continent, like him, the strongest prodigy hunter. Chapter 882. But this guy's strength, it's 2F** king exaggerated. He reached junior sovereign just like that. Even the female sovereign couldn't take him down. Isn't this a bit too ferocious? Who's the main character here? Who's the one who's cheating? For a moment, Wang Mang began to doubt his life. This strongest heaven's pride hunter is too terrifying. How long has it been? Even if the other party does have a very high foundation. However, this guy had reached the lesser sovereign realm in such a short period of time. This was a bit too much. More importantly, his combat strength is so fierce. While Wang Mang was still in shock, he also discovered that he wasn't the only one watching the battle from afar. There were many other Heaven's Pride who were also watching the battle from afar. At a glance, there were at least several thousand of them. Moreover, these Heaven's Pride weren't weak. Most of them were legendary or mythical Heaven's Pride, and their combat strength was between the 3rd and 6th level of the extreme realm. But they were all very smart. They were very far away from the battle, although the pressure of the 2 junior sovereigns made it difficult for them to straighten their chests, and even made them tremble all over. But they still wanted to watch the battle between the junior sovereigns, because it was very important to them. In addition, most of the newly born junior sovereigns would be killed by the junior sovereigns. They would have to face the attacks of the other lesser sovereigns. If they couldn't resist, they would die. In addition, if they could withstand it, they would be recognized. But the problem was that the Demon Master had been a junior sovereign for a long time. Why would he fight with this female paragon? This female sovereign wasn't weak. She was also very famous on the path of conquering the universe, because she was already a junior sovereign when she came. How could she not be famous? Even after the female sovereign came to the 11 cities, the junior sovereigns of the 12 cities didn't come to stop her. This also proved that the 10 junior sovereigns of the 12 cities had recognized the female sovereign. Similarly, the Demon Master had also received the collective recognition of the sovereigns of the 12 cities. Because in the 12 cities, 2 junior sovereigns had appeared and tried to stop him. In the end, they couldn't do anything to the Demon Master. Naturally, he was qualified to be recognized. However, the 2 lesser sovereigns who had been recognized by them were fighting each other. What the hell was going on? Perhaps it wasn't just Wang Mang who was curious. The surrounding Sky Prides were probably very curious as well. Fortunately, the battle did not last long. In the end, the 2 of them separated again. Moreover, from the perspective of the onlookers, Wang Mang felt that the 2 of them should be evenly matched. This was because Wang Mang discovered that the female supreme martial artist's complexion wasn't too good. Her slightly cute face was filled with anger. Clearly, he had not gained any advantage. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so angry. That was indeed the case. She did not gain any advantage from the Devil Master. Similarly, she couldn't understand it either. Could it be that all the lesser sovereigns on the path of battle are so powerful? Although she had long heard of the Devil Master's battle achievements, she did not put the Devil Master in her eyes at all. It wasn't until the Demon Lord met her in the Great Desolation that he wanted to fight her without saying a word. This confused her, but she accepted it without hesitation. That was because she was a supreme being, and her dignity was not to be challenged. Meanwhile, the hoarse voice of the strongest sky prodigy, Hunter, echoed in the heavens and earth. Your strength is not bad, much stronger than some of the sovereigns in the 12 cities. Hearing this, the female supreme martial artist smiled disdainfully. Obviously, she didn't care about the Devil Master's approval at all. She firmly believed that if her foundation improved a little more, she would definitely be able to kill the Devil Master in front of her. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's eyes suddenly lit up, and he transmitted his voice. Goddess Supreme, are you interested in the tomb of the Invincible Supreme being on the Supreme list? In Wang Mang's opinion, the tomb of the Invincible Supreme Being would appear tomorrow, and it would be discovered sooner or later. He might as well get someone to join him and seize the opportunity. Naturally, the other party would also owe him a favor. If he wasn't worried that the foundation of an Invincible Supreme Being was not enough. Wang Mang even wanted to pull the strongest sky prodigy Hunter into his camp. At that time, with the protection of 2 sovereigns, his harvest would also be good. Taking a step back, even if the strongest sky prodigy Hunter did not accept his favor, he would definitely not attack him. As the saying goes, one does not hit a smiling person. This was the principle of not hitting a smiling person. Not everyone was like Wang Mang, who did not care about demonic morals and turned hostile for a little benefit. At this moment, Wang Mang immediately heard the female supreme martial artist reply. It's you? Little guy, do you know the whereabouts of the Invincible Supreme Being's tomb? Are you sure? Or is it the tomb of the Invincible Supreme Being who was once on the Supreme list? From her tone, Wang Mang found that this female supreme martial artist was more than just interested. Obviously, this female supreme martial artist was very interested in the tomb of the Invincible Supreme Being. Thinking of this, Wang Mang immediately said, Of course, why would I lie to you, Goddess Supreme? I remember that you gave me a fake 6th-level divine weapon back then. So, when I have good news, I will tell you as soon as possible. Don't worry, I am definitely the first person to hear about the tomb of the Invincible Supreme Being. None of the geniuses in the 11 cities, or even the 12 cities, know about it. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the female supreme martial artist immediately ignored the Demon Master and instantly appeared beside Wang Mang. Seeing this scene, the geniuses who were watching the battle from afar were all dumbfounded. Their eyes were focused on Wang Mang in astonishment. They really couldn't understand what was so good about this guy. How could he be so favored by this rare female supreme martial artist? One had to know that there were very few females on the path of conquest, let alone a female supreme martial artist. Although this was not rare, this kind of situation was very rare on the path of conquest in the past. For a moment, the surrounding geniuses couldn't help but whisper among themselves. If one observed carefully, they would find that many geniuses were looking at Wang Mang with jealousy. What does this guy do? How could he be favored by this female supreme martial artist? I think you guys are thinking too much. How could he be worthy of this female supreme martial artist? That's right. This guy is so weak, even I can easily kill him. Haha. I am already at the peak of the 6th heaven of the Supreme Being. Who else is worthy of this supreme martial artist other than me? How can you compare to her? Do you think the female supreme martial artist likes strong men? Do you think it's your turn? That's right. If the female supreme martial artist likes strong men, wouldn't it be better to find other supreme martial artists? In my opinion, this female supreme martial artist might like strong men, I am a dream lover of 800 million girls. Are you worthy? Just because of your face that's full of scars? I think I need to use my urine to wake you up. Chapter 883. All of a sudden, the group of geniuses began to speculate and discuss maliciously. Although their discussion was very soft, Wang Mang still heard it. Hearing these guys' discussion, Wang Mang was even more speechless. He really didn't know whether to say that this group of geniuses had strength in numbers or that they were audacious. They actually dared to say such words in front of her. They were simply courting death. After all, even he had heard it, let alone the female supreme next to him. In fact, that was the case. The female supreme, who was originally in a good mood, instantly turned gloomy. In the next moment, the cold-faced female supreme even raised her hand and slapped out a terrifying power of laws. This vast power of laws immediately swept out and instantly turned into a giant palm that blotted out the sky. It suppressed towards a group of geniuses. Seeing this scene, many geniuses were extremely shocked. The geniuses who reacted quickly did not hesitate and fled into the distance. However, there were still many geniuses who did not react in time. They let out shrill screams. In the end, they did not even have the chance to escape and were directly smashed in a meat paste by this terrifying palm. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang roughly estimated at least more than 20 extreme realm geniuses died tragically on the spot. Not even ashes were left behind. They were blasted to pieces. This immediately made Wang Mang's heart bleed. This female supreme killed the geniuses with a casual attack. It was almost enough for him to complete his mission. It was worth mentioning that. The enraged female sovereign made her move. The crowd of sky prides who had gathered to watch the fight also dispersed. Only the strongest prodigy hunter was still standing proudly in the air. At this moment, the female supreme asked again through voice transmission, "Not bad, I was right about you." Obviously, Wang Mang needed to find the invincible supreme's tomb and tell her the news first. This made her very happy. She did not expect that by casually giving away a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon back then, she would have today's opportunity. Yes, the Invincible Supreme's tomb was still a great opportunity for her. Not to mention the tomb of the Invincible Supreme, who had once been on the Supreme list. This fortuitous opportunity was even greater than before. However, after thinking for a while, she still transmitted her voice to Wang Mang. "Tell this news to this Supreme Demon Master. Since the tomb has appeared, it will be exposed sooner or later. At that time, the Supremes of the 12 cities will definitely not turn a blind eye to it. To me, this is indeed a great opportunity. However, isn't it the same for them? If you tell her the news, she might be able to sell it to you. Besides, you two should be from the same place." Hearing this, Wang Mang's expression immediately became hesitant. Seeing this scene, the female paragon smiled and transmitted her voice again. "Are you afraid that you won't get any benefits if you tell him? Don't worry about that. An invincible supremacy's wealth is unimaginable, let alone an invincible supremacy who is 1 in a million on the supreme list. It's impossible for such a world-shaking figure to only have a little bit of background." Hearing that, Wang Mang came to a sudden realization. He nodded his head and looked up at the strongest heaven's chosen hunter in the sky. Oh, that's not right. Right now, he should be called the Demon Lord Supreme. With the 2 words Demon Lord, the strongest heaven's chosen assassin was truly worthy of this reputation. Wang Mang even suspected that the strongest Sky Pride hunter was possessed by the rank 6 old monster from the magic box. However, thinking that he had not participated in the opening of the tomb of the Invincible Supreme in the Sacred Emperor continent, Wang Mang finally dispelled his suspicions. Besides, so what if he was a rank 6 old monster? Could a rank 6 old monster reach the Lesser Supreme level? What a joke. After thinking of this, Wang Mang knew that it was even more impossible. At this point, Wang Mang transmitted his voice. "Supreme Demon Master, are you interested in the tomb of the Invincible Supreme?" After hearing Wang Mang's words, Supreme Demon Master, who was shrouded in the pitch-black law of darkness, looked at Wang Mang in surprise. He had long recognized Wang Mang's identity. He was also from the Sacred Emperor continent. Moreover, he was a little ant who had escaped from under his nose back then. Now that he had become a fifth-level supreme realm godly genius, he was very surprised, but that was all, because from the beginning to the end, he had never taken Wang Mang seriously. No, to be exact, he didn't take anyone seriously. If he had to use a sentence to describe him, that was, "I'm invincible. You can do whatever you want." But did he really despise the tomb of the Invincible Supreme? Although he was arrogant, he wouldn't ignore the tomb of an Invincible Supreme. Back then, he didn't participate in the tomb of the Sacred Emperor continent because it was a fake tomb. Or rather, it was just an opportunity left behind by an Invincible Supreme. But it was definitely not the place where an Invincible Supreme passed away. He had known this news long ago. Or rather, before he became the strongest Sky Pride hunter. He had already known and verified this news long ago. Just look at the ancient emperor. If he really obtained the inheritance of an Invincible Supreme who was on the emperor list, then he definitely wouldn't be so weak. He was an Invincible Supreme, and an Invincible Supreme on the sovereign list. What did you, ancient emperor, do to deserve to be his successor? The successor chosen by him was also an existence that was 1 in 10,000. How could he take a fancy to such a weak, legendary genius? Back to the topic. After hearing Wang Mang's news, Demon Master pondered for a moment. His hoarse voice sounded. "Are you sure it's the tomb of an Invincible Supreme? Is it a tomb that has just been born?" After hearing Demon Master's words, Wang Mang knew that this guy was also interested. Sure enough, it was as he had guessed, facing the real tomb of an Invincible Supreme. Even a lesser Supreme couldn't resist the temptation. In this way, wouldn't this guy owe him a favor? Thinking of this, Wang Mang was in a good mood. Demon Master, to be exact, this tomb of an Invincible Supreme is about to be born. In other words, it hasn't been born yet, and it's a tomb of a Supreme on the sovereign list. After hearing Wang Mang's words, Demon Master was also shocked. A tomb of an Invincible Supreme that hasn't been born yet. And it's the tomb of an Invincible Supreme who is on the sovereign list. Not to mention that this was a great opportunity for a Supreme martial artist. Even for an Invincible Supreme, it was a great opportunity, because in 10,000 Invincible Supreme, there might not be one who could be on the sovereign list. Therefore, after coming back to his senses, Demon Master's tone also became anxious. Is this true? Wang Mang also heard the excitement in his tone, so he nodded with a smile and said, "Of course." "Good. Take us there. If what you said is true, then I owe you a favor." After hearing this guy's words, Wang Mang was immediately overjoyed. This was exactly what he had been waiting for. Now, he had two Supreme to protect him. Even if he entered the tomb of an Invincible Supreme, he would be completely free of worries. Chapter 884. After thinking about it, Wang Mang was completely relieved. If he had gone to the tomb of the Invincible Supreme before, Wang Mang was still worried about his life. Now he was not worried at all. There was the female Supreme to help him. There was the Demon Lord to help him. As long as these two guys weren't ungrateful dogs, they probably wouldn't be able to leave him in the lurch. But how many lesser sovereigns were there now? Wang Mang estimated that there weren't even 15 of them. The two sovereigns were worth a lot of money. Thinking of this, Wang Mang slowly opened his mouth and said, "Do the two of you know where the Cloud Summit mountain range is?" Hearing this, the Demon Lord immediately asked, "Is that the location of the Invincible Supreme's tomb?" Wang Mang nodded repeatedly and said, "That's right. Does the Demon Lord know the location?" Hearing this, the Demon Lord slowly nodded and said, "The Cloud Summit mountain range is extremely remote. I happened to pass by it once and happen to know about this place. Ordinary people might not know about the Cloud Summit mountain range. Come with me." After saying that, the Demon Lord moved and flew towards the great desolate mountain range in the distance. His speed was so fast that in the blink of an eye, Wang Mang couldn't even see his back. At this time, The female supreme grabbed Wang Mang's shoulder and followed closely behind. Because with Wang Mang's speed, he couldn't keep up with their speed at all. After all, they even had a pseudo-rank 6 magical ability. At this moment, Wang Mang, who was being dragged along in extremely fast speed, couldn't help but say, as expected of a lesser sovereign, his speed was simply 100 times faster than his. Even if he burst out with all his strength, he still couldn't catch up with their backs. What surprised Wang Mang even more was that, in just a moment, the demon lord in front stopped and stood proudly in the air with his hands behind his back. Similarly, the female supreme also stopped and looked at the demon lord and asked, "Is this the Cloud's Summit mountain range?" The demon lord nodded and said in a slightly hoarse voice, "If you observe carefully, you will discover that this mountain range is several times taller than the nearby mountain ranges. The peak of the mountain range pierces through the clouds. This is the Cloud's Summit mountain range that we are looking for." Upon hearing this, Wang Mang and the female supreme martial artist started to observe carefully. After looking around, he found that this mountain range was indeed as he had expected. It seemed that this was where the tomb of the invincible supreme would open. At this time, Supreme Demon Master also slowly said, "We can just wait here." After saying that, the Supreme Demon Master's figure flashed as he appeared at the peak of a mountain in the distance and sat down cross-legged. Seeing this scene, the female utmost exalt also found a mountain peak and began to meditate. Seeing this, Wang Mang also found a place to wait. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed. Wang Mang and the other two waited nervously and expectantly. In the next moment, a deafening sound resounded. Then, Wang Mang realized that the entire Cloud Summit mountain range was trembling. Then, a terrifying power of law soared into the sky, instantly illuminating the sky. Then, Wang Mang was shocked to discover that 4 teleportation entrances had appeared in 4 directions of the Cloud Summit mountain range. The entire Cloud Summit mountain range was like a setting sun, and a terrifying and majestic shadow condensed above the mountain range. This was the back of a handsome man. He was dressed in a white robe, and his white hair fluttered in the wind. He looked into the distance with his back facing everyone. However, it was only a shadow. The terrifying pressure seemed to be able to cross time and space. Along with several explosions, the surrounding 10,000 miles of mountains were blown apart. Fortunately, Wang Mang reacted quickly. After sensing that something was wrong, he quickly retreated. Therefore, after this terrifying pressure swept out, it only seriously injured him. As for the other side, even though Supreme Demon Master and the female Supreme Martial Artist reacted in time, they were also in a sorry state. In fact, under this terrifying pressure, both of them were seriously injured. Even the law of darkness of the Supreme Fiend Master was smashed apart by this oppressive might. This also allowed Wang Mang to see the true face of Supreme Demon Master for the first time. It was not an incomparably handsome face. In terms of looks, he was probably only a little inferior to him. All right, this was Wang Mang's boasting. This guy was indeed much more handsome than him. What puzzled Wang Mang was why this guy was unwilling to show his true face. Of course, although he was curious, Wang Mang was not interested in knowing. What he was having a headache now was that he was seriously injured before he even entered. Fortunately, what made Wang Mang relieved was that the shadow in the sky with his back facing everyone did not last long. Accompanied by a complicated sigh, the illusory image gradually blurred and finally disappeared completely. But at this moment, other than Wang Mang, both Supreme Demon Master and the female Supreme Martial Artist were staring at the disappearing shadow in a daze. After a long time, Wang Mang heard the female Supreme Martial Artist's astonished voice. "Is this the invincible Supreme Martial Artist who can enter the Supreme list? He has clearly fallen to the point that time cannot be traced back. But he still has such a terrifying, invincible aura." At this moment, Supreme Demon Master's hoarse voice sounded. "This is the peak of the 5th stage that I have been painstakingly pursuing. He has already gone too far in the finger creation of the 5th stage. Even time is not willing to completely erase his existence. Wang Mang was also extremely shocked, but after coming back to his senses, he still urged, "Two big shots, let's move as soon as possible." With such a big commotion, I'm afraid it has already attracted the attention of many geniuses. I reckon it won't be long before many geniuses arrive. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the female Supreme Martial Artist and Supreme Demon Master nodded. Then, Supreme Demon Master took the lead and said, "Since ancient times, the East Gate leads the way." After saying that, Supreme Demon Master's figure swept out, followed by Wang Mang and the female Supreme Martial Artist. Soon, the three of them plunged into the East Gate and completely entered the tomb of the Invincible Supreme. But what Wang Mang didn't know was that, not long after they left, a large number of geniuses gathered from all directions. This was because the terrifying aura of the illusory figure had caused an earth-shattering commotion, causing heaven and earth to change color. Therefore, countless geniuses in the vast wilderness naturally heard the commotion and rushed over. When they saw the four tomb portals in front of them, this group of geniuses was stunned at first, but then they were wild with joy. This is the tomb of the Invincible Supreme that has just appeared. That's right. This is definitely the tomb of the Invincible Supreme. Oh my God. This is the aura of invincibility. This is the real aura of invincibility. No wonder it resounds throughout the vast wilderness. This aura of invincibility is too terrifying. With such a big commotion, the tomb of the Invincible Supreme must have just appeared. Let's go. Get lost. How dare you compete with me in speed? Believe it or not, I will kill you on the spot. How dare you? You're only at the 5th level of the Supreme Realm. How dare you enter the tomb of the Invincible Supreme in front of me? At the same time, at this moment, in the tomb of the Invincible Supreme, Wang Mang, the female Supreme, and the Demon Lord who had just entered. Looking at the balls of light of different colors, the three of them were stunned. In this vast underground palace, there were many people. There were tens of thousands of such light screens. And after Wang Mang and the other two appeared, these tens of thousands of clouds of different sizes and colors, they all began to riot like panicked headless flies. They began to fly around in the air. At the same time, an old man's shadow appeared out of thin air in the palace. After the white-haired old man's shadow appeared, he smiled at Wang Mang and the other two. Being able to enter here first proves that you are fated to be with my master. The balls of light here are one of my master's countless spoils of war. Among them, there are low-grade 6th-level divine abilities, mid-grade 6th-level divine abilities, and upper-grade 6th-level divine abilities. In addition, there are also those with extraordinary medicinal effects. There are simply countless immortal pills, spiritual herbs, and treasures. There are also low-grade 6th-level divine weapons, mid-grade 6th-level divine weapons, and upper-grade 6th-level divine weapons. As the first to enter my master's tomb, you are honored to have 2 chances to choose 2 treasure balls of light. After you have chosen the treasure ball of light, regardless of whether it is good or bad, you cannot change your choice of the remaining ball of light. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. After you have chosen the treasures, you can enter the stone door to proceed to the next level. Also, congratulations to you. You already know part of the rules. Because I will not provide any information about the rules for the geniuses behind. These information and rules require them to use their lives to obtain. Chapter 885. After listening to the old man's words, Wang Mang and the other two were stunned. They were shocked by the Invincible Supreme's spoils of war. There were too many treasures flying in the sky. There were even 6th-level supernatural powers and divine weapons. In other words, this Invincible Supreme, who was on the Supreme list, had entered the 6th level. As for his final achievements, what heights had he reached? Wang Mang, on the other hand, did not understand. But it had to be said, after learning that these balls of light were all treasures, there was no need to mention how excited Wang Mang was. He even wished he could take all the balls of light into his bag. But the rule information that the old man mentioned didn't allow it. In fact, that was the case. If it was really allowed, Wang Mang had already started to take action and took away these balls of light. At this moment, Wang Mang also realized that he wasn't the only one who was excited. The female supreme and the demon lord beside him were the same. Looking at her excited face, he couldn't help but laugh. It wasn't hard to guess her mood. As for the demon lord, although his face was hidden in the darkness, but he probably wasn't much better. In addition, there was something that Wang Mang was a little worried about. No one knew the rules of the Invincible Supreme's tomb. Even they only got it. It was just the rule information in front of them. Moreover, this was the special information that only they were qualified to receive after entering the Invincible Supreme's tomb first. In addition, from what this old man said, the geniuses who entered next wouldn't be able to get the information. They were really using their lives to explore the rules of the Invincible Supreme's tomb. Thinking of this, Wang Mang and the other two's hearts sank. At this moment, after seeing the old man disappear into thin air, Wang Mang and the other two looked at each other, not knowing what to do. In the end, Wang Mang gritted his teeth and said, "Let's choose the treasure balls of light first." Since he said that we can get 2 treasure balls of light, he shouldn't lie to us. Let's just choose the treasure balls of light. I believe it won't be long before someone comes. After hearing Wang Mang's words, the female sovereign and sovereign demon master nodded in succession. Then, the 3 of them began to move and choose their treasures. Moreover, they all remembered the old man's reminder. Once it was obtained, it was impossible to change it. Therefore, the 3 of them didn't dare to make a move easily. Wang Mang didn't dare to make a move carelessly either. He was afraid that the things he obtained would be too trashy. Therefore, he began to observe these balls of light. These balls of light were of all kinds of colors. There were too many of them. Wang Mang was dazzled, and he didn't know where to start. However, right at this moment, Wang Mang suddenly saw that the female paragon had already made her move. She reached out and grabbed it. It was a ball of purple light. Then, after the ball of light dissipated, Yi Zichen looked at Yi Zichen. A pseudo-6th-ranked divine weapon appeared in his hand. This was a long sword divine weapon. Its appearance was filled with the aura of a treasure, and it looked very beautiful. Faint power of laws flowed on this treasure sword, making it seem extraordinary. However, the face of the female paragon, who had obtained a pseudo-rank 6 divine weapon, was extremely ugly. Obviously, she could obtain as many pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons as she wanted. Only rank 6 divine weapons. Even she didn't have one. Therefore, her goal had always been a rank 6 divine weapon. To her, pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons were like food to her, but it was a pity to throw them away. This was also the reason why she generously gave Wang Mang the silver dragon spear back then, because pseudo-rank 6 divine weapons had a very limited effect on their combat strength. For a moment, the female paragon's face was filled with bewilderment and anger. Since ancient times, purple has been revered. Shouldn't purple be hiding treasures? Hearing this, Wang Mang was also speechless. However, this also reminded him that purple balls of light might not necessarily be treasures. Originally, he also liked purple. After all, purple represented luxury and nobility. At this moment, Wang Mang saw that the demon master not far away had also grabbed a ball of purple light. After the impenetrable light dissipated, Wang Mang saw that a divine weapon had appeared in the demon master's hand. This was a halberd that was filled with monstrous dark laws. The terrifying power of the law that flowed out of it. It made Wang Mang's heart skip a beat. Obviously, this was a rank 6 divine weapon that was exclusive to the dark laws. Similarly, the demon master also majored in the dark laws. Wang Mang naturally knew this. This also meant that the demon master had probably become even stronger. With this halberd, the demon master was like adding wings to a tiger for the demon master. Thinking of this, Wang Mang couldn't be more envious. He hadn't majored in the power of the law yet, and the laws were still extremely mixed. Therefore, he naturally didn't know which kind of law divine weapon was most suitable for him. Actually, Wang Mang had long discovered this problem. Many geniuses had begun to major in one kind of law power. It could be said that they were constantly striving for perfection and using a kind of law power. Naturally, it was much stronger than using a hodgepodge of law power. This also made Wang Mang realize he had to choose to major in the power of law as soon as possible. If he continued to be like this, obviously, this wasn't a solution. If Wang Mang was only envious at this moment, if that was the case, then the Valkyrie was simply jealous. These were directly written on her complicated face. Among the 3,000 laws, it was too difficult to have an exclusive weapon. The exclusive divine weapon in her hands was only a pseudo-rank 6. Because of this, she naturally yearned to obtain a rank 6 divine weapon. Moreover, she could see that the rank 6 divine weapon in the Demon Master's hands, it should have reached the top of the rank 6 low grade. In other words, even if the Demon Master entered rank 6 in the future, he wouldn't need to worry about weapons for a long time. Right at this moment, Wang Mang suddenly heard movement behind him. When he turned around, he saw that thousands of geniuses had appeared in the underground palace. Obviously, these geniuses had just entered this place from the outside. Not only that, there were still geniuses pouring in from the outside. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's heart sank, because he didn't know if these guys had the chance to obtain the balls of light. But these geniuses were obviously shocked by the thousands of treasure balls of light in front of them. But they obviously didn't know that these balls of light were all treasures. Originally, when they saw Wang Mang and the other two, they wanted to question them. But after discovering that there were two supremes among them, they immediately hesitated. In the end, these geniuses all looked at Wang Mang and questioned one after another. "Kid, what are you doing? Where are these balls of light?" "That's right. Quickly tell us what's going on here." "How dare you? You enter the 5th level of the Supreme Realm. I asked you a question, and you ignored me? Ant-like existence. I'm asking you a question. Are you really deaf? You blind dog. We're at the 6th level of the Supreme Realm. It's easy for us to kill you." Chapter 886. A 5th Firmament Supreme Realm Cultivator dares to be so arrogant? I can crush you to death with a single finger. Do you know that? Ant-like thing, why aren't you speaking? If you provoke us, we will definitely make you wish you were dead. This kid must know some information. We can get the information we want by searching his mind directly. Is there a need to search his mind so troublesome? There are many 6th Firmament Supreme Realm cultivators here. What can a mere ant like him do to us? For a moment, the group of Sky Prides berated and questioned angrily. Although they didn't dare to find trouble with the two lesser sovereigns, they could still bully an ant like Wang Mang. After all, among the thousands of Sky Prides present, there were many 6th Firmament Supreme Realm powerhouses. Therefore, even if Wang Mang was a 6th Firmament Supreme Realm cultivator, he wouldn't be a threat to them. To them, they weren't much of a threat, so they had no choice but to submit to them. Unless Wang Mang had reached the lesser sovereign level, like the female sovereign and sovereign demon lord. For a moment, Wang Mang was furious in the face of the furious berating of the group of Sky Prides. This group of bastards is really bullying the weak and fearing the strong. Damn it, if you have the ability, go and question the female sovereign and sovereign demon lord. Question me here? How hateful. Despite his anger, Wang Mang ignored them. He went straight to the side of the female paragon and the demon master. After that, Wang Mang sneered at the group of prodigies and mocked them. "You think you can get the information? Stop daydreaming. I won't say anything. What do you do to me?" Looking at Wang Mang's arrogant and sneering face, the Sky Prides present widened their eyes in anger, their faces gloomy and angry. Obviously, Wang Mang's arrogant attitude had completely angered them. But the problem was, they weren't fools now. They immediately knew Wang Mang's confidence, especially when they saw Wang Mang standing together with the two supreme martial artists. It was difficult for them to vent their anger. This was because they could tell that Wang Mang was with the two supreme martial artists. If they made a move, what if the two supreme beings attacked them? Although Wang Mang was not worth mentioning to them. But the problem was that if the two supreme beings killed them, it was a piece of cake. Therefore, the group of sky prides did not dare to voice their anger. Seeing this, Wang Mang sneered. Then, he continued to choose the treasure light orbs. Upon seeing this sight, the other geniuses, despite their eagerness, also began to observe the situation. Evidently, none of them were fools. They had become Lammeter prodigies. Therefore, before they understood the situation, they didn't dare to act rashly. At the same time, it was Wang Mang who was picking the treasure light balls. Suddenly, he realized that a golden ball of light had been following him all this time. It wasn't like the other balls of light, which were constantly flying around randomly, although there were quite a few golden balls of light. But there were none like this one that had been following him all this time. Could it be that this treasure light orb is fated to be with me? Thinking of this, Wang Mang hesitated for a moment. He reached out and grabbed the golden ball of light. After the halo dissipated, Wang Mang saw the treasure in his hand. It was a black gourd. Moreover, from the flowing law fluctuations, this was obviously a 6th grade treasure, and it was also a 6th grade lower treasure. However, this was just a gourd. Obviously, it was not a battle-type divine weapon at all. In addition, Wang Mang discovered this 6th grade lower treasure. Obviously, it was a little different from magical powers. It was indescribably strange, because the law flowing on the black gourd was actually strangely devouring the surrounding law power. Seeing this scene, the surrounding sky prides also exclaimed in shock. What the hell? This is a 6th grade treasure? This fluctuation of aura is definitely a 6th grade treasure. Could it be that these light orbs are all treasures? It must be so. They're definitely treasures. I suspect that there's a good thing in these light orbs. Could it be that the treasures in these light orbs can be taken casually? You're thinking too much. If they could really take them casually, they would have taken these treasures away long ago. That's right. There are so many treasures here. If they could really take them casually, why would we have a share? Fellow cultivators, can you tell us how to obtain the light orbs here? Yes. Fellow cultivators, can the light orbs here be obtained casually? For a moment, these sky prides all had greedy looks on their faces. All of them were eager to take action. They looked at Wang Mang and the others with longing eyes. Obviously, they wanted to know if there was any danger in it. After all, this was a 6th grade treasure. To them, this was simply too attractive. Therefore, even if they knew that there was danger, they still couldn't help but be eager to take action. Unfortunately, still no one took the lead. Obviously, no one was willing to be the first to take the lead. What made them even more helpless and anxious was that Wang Mang and the others simply ignored them. Although they were very angry and anxious, they couldn't do anything about it. At this time, one of the sky prides couldn't help but say with a gloomy face, "I don't believe that we can obtain these light orbs." After saying that, he reached out and grabbed a treasure light orb. It was worth mentioning that, after the light orb dissipated, a 6th grade crimson spear appeared in his hand. Seeing this scene, the sky prides was stunned. He had withstood a lot of pressure and couldn't help but take the risk. He actually succeeded? The next moment, in excitement, his other hand instantly grabbed another treasure light orb. But then, all the excited sky prides felt their scalps go numb. The next moment, a scream sounded. The sky prides who had been greedy before was instantly killed by a black shadow that couldn't be seen clearly. The speed of this black shadow was so fast that it couldn't be seen at all. Its hunting speed was too fast. In just the blink of an eye, the sky prides were devoured. Moreover, judging from its aura, it was much more terrifying than a supreme being. Obviously, its battle strength had far surpassed that of a junior supreme being. This scene also made all the sky prides present feel their scalps go numb. Their ambition and greed, which had been ready to take action, were instantly extinguished. Similarly, Wang Mang, who had come back to his senses, also felt a burst of fear and trepidation. No one could clearly see where this black shadow had come from. Wang Mang didn't know at all. It was as if it had never appeared at all. At the same time, just when Wang Mang was in a daze, Wang Mang suddenly discovered that another purple light orb had suddenly hit his hand. After coming back to his senses, Wang Mang was instantly stunned. Holy shit, I haven't chosen yet. Why did it automatically come to me? Chapter 887. For a moment, Wang Mang suddenly panicked. This treasure light ball was too much. It simply didn't give him a choice. He hadn't even chosen, and it directly bumped into his hands. This made him completely lose the chance to continue choosing. At this moment, Wang Mang really wanted to cry, but had no tears. He only needed this treasure to not be too overboard. Otherwise, under Wang Mang's depressed and nervous gaze, the light of the treasure gradually dissipated. Then, a divine weapon filled with black devouring laws appeared in Wang Mang's hands. This was also a 2-meter-long halberd. Moreover, the halberd's body was carved with a black dragon. Other than the difference in the power of laws on the divine weapons. In fact, there wasn't much of a difference between the treasures obtained by Demon Master and Sovereign. The only difference was that the halberd's head was completely different. Demon Master and Sovereign had obtained the moon-shaped halberd. However, Wang Mang had obtained the well-shaped halberd. Similarly, both weapons were at the 6th level of inferior-grade divine weapons. Judging from the level of the two halberds, there wasn't much of a difference. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang was even more overjoyed. He didn't expect that the two treasures he obtained were both at the 6th level. One was a 6th level divine weapon. The other was a 6th level treasure. This already made Wang Mang very satisfied. A 6th level divine weapon, although he couldn't use it now. But when his battle strength increased, he would naturally be able to use it. At the same time, after Wang Mang obtained the 6th level divine weapon, it also made the geniuses who were at a loss, not far away, all dumbfounded. The whole place was in an uproar. A 6th level divine weapon? What the F***CK? How is this possible? How can this guy obtain a 6th level divine weapon? It seems that our guess is right. These treasure light balls are all treasures. Damn it. How are we going to obtain them? Damn it. Are we really going to watch these treasures not be obtained? Why is it that the prodigy who obtained the treasure earlier was killed, but the rest of them are fine? Yeah, what was going on? Could it be that the only way to explore the tomb of the Invincible Supreme is to risk your life? Wang Mang smiled disdainfully when he heard the discussions of the prodigies. He immediately put away the black gourd and the sky piercer before he even had the time to size it up. Now is not the time to study treasures and divine weapons. Of course, Wang Mang didn't want others to be jealous of him, although he had the protection of Sovereign Devil Master and Female Sovereign. However, neither of them had spoken up to intimidate this group of prodigies. This made Wang Mang very unhappy with the two of them, but he did not show it. After all, he still needed their help to explore the tomb of the Invincible Supreme. Therefore, now was not the time to fall out with the two of them. At this time, the Female Sovereign and Sovereign Demon Master had also finished selecting their second treasure. The items that the two of them obtained were actually top-notch 5th-ranked divine weapons. This caused them to be greatly disappointed. No one was more furious than the Female Supreme Martial Artist. Her originally cute face was completely gloomy, and she was expressionless the entire time. However, Wang Mang knew that she was probably filled with anger. Therefore, Wang Mang did not urge the two of them. If the two of them wanted to leave, he would just follow them. At the same time, as time passed, more and more prodigies gathered. However, Wang Mang realized that neither the Female Supreme Martial Artist nor Sovereign Demon Master had any intention of leaving. The two of them stayed here tacitly, as if they were waiting for something, as if they were thinking about something. Regarding this, Wang Mang guessed that they might have stayed behind for some other reason. Or perhaps they wanted to see if these treasure light balls could be obtained through other methods. Or perhaps they wanted to see if they could snatch other people's treasure light balls. Similarly, as more and more prodigies gathered, they couldn't help but explode. They all asked the Female Supreme Martial Artist and Sovereign Demon Master, "Honorable Supremes, please tell us how we can obtain these light balls of treasures." That's right, two Supreme Martial Artists, Please be kind and tell us some information. Two supreme martial artists, I beg you, please tell us, even if we have to pay the price. That's right. If the two of you tell us, you will have a chance to have other motives, right? Obviously, these prodigies didn't dare to ask too much about the two supreme martial artists. Moreover, they had also guessed that the two supreme martial artists were not satisfied with their gains. Therefore, they were not in a hurry to enter the depths of the invincible supreme martial artist's tomb. It was obvious that they were up to no good. However, they didn't care. As long as they were told the news, they could use their own methods, even if the treasures they obtained were snatched away in the end. At least it was better than watching and not daring to act rashly. Facing the questioning of the prodigies, the female supreme martial artist said coldly, "If you want to obtain the treasures, think of a way to try it yourself. Because we were the first to enter the tomb of the invincible supreme martial artist, we obtained 2 treasure light balls, but we can't change them after choosing them. As for how you're going to obtain these treasure light balls, I don't know, but I suggest you think of a way to try. Perhaps each of you can only choose 1 treasure light ball? Which prodigy didn't die after obtaining the first treasure light ball? What if he wasn't too greedy? Could it be that you're just going to watch these treasures without doing anything?" After hearing the female supreme martial artist's words, many prodigies fell into hesitation. However, there were also many prodigies who were eager to make a move. At this moment, a prodigy with the combat strength of the 4th firmament of the supreme martial artist stepped forward. "Let me try. Life and death are up to fate." After saying that, this prodigy reached out to grab a golden light ball in front of all the prodigies. However, in the next moment, something magical happened. This prodigy wasn't killed by the black shadow. On the contrary, he successfully obtained a treasure light ball. Moreover, after the treasure light ball's halo dissipated, it was actually a jade slip filled with the law of darkness. Judging from its aura, this was definitely a level 6 divine ability. Moreover, it was a law of darkness divine ability. As for whether it was an offensive, defensive, or some other kind of divine ability, no one knew. After seeing this scene, Wang Mang realized that the Demon Master was a little eager to make a move. The Demon Master's gaze seemed to be focused on this jade slip that was enveloped by the law of darkness. Wang Mang even suspected that if it wasn't for the fact that he wasn't sure if he could snatch it, the Demon Master would have already snatched it. The law of darkness was the law power that the Demon Master mainly cultivated. He had previously obtained a level 6 divine weapon of the law of darkness. Now he saw another level 6 divine ability of the law of darkness. If he saw it, it would be strange if he didn't have any thoughts. At this moment, after this prodigy succeeded, another few prodigies couldn't help but make a move. They all made a move to obtain the treasure light balls. However, they all succeeded. A total of 7 people successfully obtained the treasure light balls. Among them were level 5 divine treasures, pseudo-level 6 divine weapons, and pseudo-level 6 divine abilities. This also made many prodigies couldn't help but make a move. However, in the next moment, several screams suddenly sounded one after another. They saw that all the prodigies who tried to obtain the treasure light balls, whether it was the 4th firmament of the supreme martial artist, the 5th firmament of the supreme martial artist, or the 6th firmament of the supreme martial artist, they were all devoured and slaughtered by countless black shadows. It was as if a gust of black wind blew past their eyes. In fact, the sky prides present were so shocked that they froze on the spot. What the hell is going on? Why were the prodigies who tried to obtain the treasure light balls fine? But later on, something happened to those who tried to obtain the treasure light balls one after another. Moreover, they could see that these geniuses were not greedy at all. Each of them only managed to grab 1 light ball. For a moment, all the prodigies were stunned. Actually, they weren't the only ones who were stunned. Even Wang Mang was the same. He really couldn't figure out what exactly were the rules for obtaining the treasure light balls. How exactly were these treasure light balls to be obtained? Chapter 888. For a moment, Wang Mang also frowned. He was also confused by the rules of the invincible Supreme Being's tomb. For a moment, countless geniuses began to hesitate. They didn't dare to act rashly. Dozens of geniuses had died just now. People died at the drop of a hat. It was so torturous that they almost broke down. At this moment, some experts suddenly couldn't help but attack the geniuses who had treasures. A sixth heavenly meter immediately set his sights on a fifth heavenly meter prodigy who had obtained a treasure. Moreover, his speed was extremely fast. It could be said that his sneak attack was successful. Therefore, he killed the heaven's favorite on the spot and took the heaven's favorite storage ring. What was worth mentioning was that this genius wasn't targeted by the invincible Supreme Being's tomb. This also proved that killing and snatching were allowed in the invincible Supreme Being's tomb. In the next moment, just as Wang Mang figured out this problem, he saw the Demon Lord and the female Supreme Being rush out. Obviously, the two of them didn't hesitate and attacked decisively. Moreover, the two of them easily killed the target and snatched the other party's storage ring. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang was shocked. That was because he realized that many geniuses were looking at him covetously. Their eyes were filled with evil intentions. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang's heart sank. Fortunately, these guys didn't attack him. Obviously, they were still very wary of the female Supreme Being and the Demon Lord. Otherwise, with the level 6 divine weapon that Wang Mang had obtained, they probably couldn't help but attack long ago. Regarding this, Wang Mang could only be envious. That was because he didn't have the strength of the Demon Lord and the female Supreme Being. Therefore, even if he wanted to snatch the treasures and opportunities of other geniuses, he had no chance at all. His strength was simply insufficient. At this moment, Wang Mang saw the Demon Lord and the female Supreme Being returning with a full load. Then, the two of them walked towards the next level of the stone door. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang immediately followed after him. That was because the entire underground palace was in a complete mess. They simply could not turn a blind eye to these treasures. However, he was unwilling to leave. Clearly, he was still trying to figure out the rules. After entering the stone door, in front of Wang Mang were tens of thousands of single-plank bridges. Below the single-plank bridge was the terrifying law of fire. The terrifyingly high temperature made Wang Mang sweat all over. Furthermore, his clothes were burning with flames. If it wasn't for Wang Mang controlling the mana around his body to suppress it, perhaps Wang Mang's entire body was burning. In addition, at the other end of these thousands of bridges, there was a treasure-like cluster. It was as if it meant that as long as one crossed each bridge, one would be able to gain something. However, no matter if it was Wang Mang, the female sovereign, or the demon master, none of them dared to act rashly. It was mainly because they were scared of the rules in the first round. The laws of the invincible Supreme Being's tomb were too strange. If he acted rashly, he wouldn't even know how he died. Let's wait. I suspect that these single-plank bridges will need to be filled with human lives. At this moment, the demon master said hoarsely. Hearing this, the female sovereign also nodded, obviously in agreement. Later, we'll intercept these geniuses and let them cross the single-plank bridge. We'll use this to figure out the rules. As soon as she finished speaking, Wang Mang saw that many geniuses had already walked in from the other side of the stone door. Obviously, these geniuses had finally resisted the temptation of the treasure-like cluster. However, when these hundreds of geniuses arrived here, they all stopped in their tracks and looked at Wang Mang and the other two in confusion. The female sovereign was expressionless as she chuckled and said, "All of you, come here and listen to our arrangements. Walk on these single-plank bridges." Hearing this, the geniuses were all stunned. They waved their hands and retreated. "Two sovereigns, how would we dare to walk in front of you?" "That's right. Two sovereigns, please go first. We're not in a hurry." "That's right. How would we dare to act rashly in front of the two sovereigns?" Obviously, they also knew that the two sovereigns were definitely not looking for them for good. Therefore, these geniuses repeatedly refused. In fact, some of the geniuses even wanted to return to the first stage. However, they were horrified to find that They couldn't leave the stone door at all. In other words, they could only move forward. They couldn't retreat. At least not for now. This also made Wang Mang's heart sink again. Sure enough, the things in this invincible Supreme's tomb were not so easy to take. At this moment, after hearing the genius's words, the female sovereign's pretty face was cold. I advise you to obediently walk on the single plank bridge. Otherwise, I don't mind killing you on the spot. After hearing the female sovereign's words, the hundreds of geniuses all looked helpless. Obviously, they knew that if they didn't agree, the two sovereigns in front of them wouldn't let them off easily. In the end, after weighing the pros and cons, dozens of geniuses chose to compromise. After all, if they chose to walk on the single plank bridge, they might have a chance of survival. However, if they refused, they would definitely die if the female sovereign and the demon lord joined forces. Therefore, after looking at each other, the group of geniuses chose a single plank bridge and stepped on it one after another. Then Wang Mang saw a scene that made his hair stand on end. In the next moment, screams sounded. The geniuses who stepped on the single plank bridge one by one started to burn all over. In the end, they were completely devoured by the extremely terrifying fire laws. A total of 30 geniuses, without exception, died on the single plank bridge. Seeing this scene, the female sovereign's face darkened. She looked at the other geniuses and said coldly, "Continue. All of you go up too." Hearing this, the other geniuses shook their heads in panic. It was obvious that the death of all 30 heaven's favorites had frightened them. Seeing this, before the female sovereign could speak, the demon lord raised his hand. The terrifying dark laws turned into a giant hand and instantly imprisoned them. Then, the geniuses were thrown onto the single plank bridge one after another. This was accompanied by a series of screams. These geniuses all died tragically on the spot. More than 300 geniuses all died on the single plank bridge without exception. Even Wang Mang, who had expected this, couldn't help but gasp. Hundreds of geniuses had been thrown in. They still couldn't find a single plank bridge that could be crossed. If this continued, more lives would be needed to fill the hole to find a way out. Thinking of this, Wang Mang's heart sank. He continued to wait for new geniuses to appear with the female sovereign and the demon lord. The three of them didn't have to wait long. Half an hour later, hundreds of geniuses entered again. Then, the female utmost exalted and the demon master utmost exalted both made their moves. The two of them once again imprisoned the hundreds of geniuses in batches. Then, they threw the geniuses onto each single plank bridge one after another. Such an inhumane method also angered the remaining geniuses. Bastards! You bastards actually have such a method to find a way out. You have completely lost your minds for the treasures of the invincible Supreme's tomb. Let's attack together. Even if we die, don't become their tools. For a moment, the remaining hundreds of geniuses were all agitated and furious. In just an instant, they successfully united and eyed Wang Mang and the other two covetously. Fortunately, at this moment, Wang Mang realized that something was wrong. A genius that was used as a test stone. He actually successfully crossed the single plank bridge. Seeing this scene, the demon lord and the female sovereign were stunned. After that, the demon master threw another genius over. He found that this genius had also successfully crossed the single plank bridge. However, this genius's entire body was burned and seriously injured, but it also successfully crossed the single plank bridge. In fact, this genius who was used as a test stone had a combat strength of the 5th level of the extreme realm himself found it unbelievable. Moreover, Wang Mang discovered through observation that the fire laws on this single plank bridge had become much fainter. Seeing this scene, the demon lord said hoarsely, "Let's go." After saying that, he flung his black robe and instantly threw out the remaining geniuses who were used for testing like trash. Then, the demon lord took the lead and rushed onto the single plank bridge. Wang Mang and the female sovereign naturally followed closely behind. The three of them heaved a sigh of relief. They had successfully crossed the single plank bridge. They were not swallowed by the fire laws. Not only that, after hesitating for a moment, the Supreme Demon Master even stretched out his hand and grabbed one of the treasure light balls on the bridgehead tightly in his hand. But what made the Demon Lord relieved was that nothing happened to him. Seeing this scene, the female sovereign was a little tempted, but she was also a little hesitant. On the other hand, Wang Mang also gritted his teeth and reached out to grab one of the balls of light. What made Wang Mang happy was that after he grabbed the white ball of light, nothing happened. This meant that after the halo dissipated, another good thing had been successfully obtained. But after the halo dissipated, Wang Mang was stunned, because this was not a treasure. On the contrary, it was a spiritual light. Then, before Wang Mang could react, the spiritual light entered his mind. But after Wang Mang digested this spiritual light, Wang Mang's entire being was wild with joy, because this spiritual light was actually Chapter 889. Because this spiritual light was actually part of the rules of the third stage. The name of the third stage, Team Battle. The rules of the third stage: 3 people in a team, 10 teams compete, 1 team survives. The method to obtain the treasure of the third stage. The first team to pass can obtain 3 treasure light balls. The other top 10 teams can obtain 1 treasure light ball. Those who take more will die, and they can snatch the treasures of the other teams. Yes, these few words of information. It was formed by this spiritual light. Other than that, there's nothing else. But with such a piece of information, who knew how many geniuses would have to die before they could figure out this rule information? Just as Wang Mang was overjoyed, the halo in Demon Master's hand dissipated. This was a 6th-level divine weapon that looked like a jade seal. The jade seal was purple gold in color and emitted a terrifying Emperor's Law. It looked extremely extraordinary. Then, Demon Master didn't hesitate to put the treasure into his bag. On the other hand, the female Supreme was hesitant. In the end, she didn't dare to take the risk. After all, who knew if something would happen to her if she took the treasure light ball? At the same time, Wang Mang suddenly saw it. On the single plank bridge they had passed, several geniuses passed one after another. Just after passing the 10th person, many geniuses had already crossed half of the single plank bridge. Their bodies began to burn under the law of fire. Then, they let out painful and mournful cries. Not even their primordial spirits were left behind. It could be said that they were completely dead. This also made the geniuses on the other side. Everyone was so scared that their scalps went numb again. None of them dared to act rashly. Seeing this scene, Wang Mang came back to his senses. He looked at the other geniuses. Including Wang Mang, only 10 people had passed. But Wang Mang guessed that they might also be able to obtain a light ball. Therefore, Wang Mang was naturally greedy. However, Wang Mang didn't dare to obtain any more treasure light balls. He wasn't sure if everyone could obtain one. Although he obtained one, the problem was that this was just information, although its value was countless times more precious than treasures. But the problem was that Wang Mang still didn't obtain any treasures. But he didn't know the rules. He didn't dare to act rashly. What were the rules of this level? He didn't even know the rules, so he didn't dare to act recklessly. After that, Wang Mang looked at the female Supreme Being and couldn't help but ask, "Female Supreme Being, why aren't you doing anything?" Hearing this, the female Supreme Martial Artist helplessly shook her head and said, "I'm not sure. Without knowing the rules, I don't dare to act rashly." Then, the female Supreme Martial Artist suddenly looked at the other 7 Sky Prides and said in a cold voice, "Each of you take a treasure light orb and give it to us. There are exactly 7 people. I'll take 3, and each of you can take 2. Is that okay?" After saying that, the female Supreme Martial Artist looked at Wang Mang and Supreme Demon Lord with a calm and indifferent expression. Upon hearing this, Wang Mang was overjoyed. This was exactly what he wanted the female Supreme Martial Artist to do. Who would have thought that the female Supreme Martial Artist would really do that? Therefore, Wang Mang immediately nodded in agreement without hesitation. Female Sovereign is right. Let's do as you say." Hearing this, Supreme Demon Lord, who was shrouded in darkness, also nodded slightly. Obviously, he also agreed with this method of dividing the treasures. Of course, if it wasn't for the fact that Wang Mang owed them a favor and provided them with the information. In their eyes, Wang Mang didn't deserve to share the benefits with them at all. Hearing this, the Sky Prides, who had just survived the calamity, were all in despair. They didn't expect that they would have to go to hell again after just walking through the gates of hell. Because in the eyes of these Sky Prides, these treasure light orbs were both treasures and life-threatening talismans. Especially when they were with the two supreme martial artists, one could imagine how much pain they were in. Unfortunately, in the face of the oppression of the two supreme martial artists, the 7 legendary Sky Prides didn't dare to say anything. In the end, they all compromised. Then, they mustered up their courage, closed their eyes, and grabbed the treasure light orbs in front of them. What made them feel relieved was that after they grabbed the light orbs, nothing happened. Seeing this, the female supreme martial artist almost didn't hesitate to grab a treasure light orb as well. Similarly, nothing happened. The rest of the Sky Prides also grabbed the treasure light orbs. But among the 10 people present, nothing happened to any of them. For a moment, many Sky Prides were inexplicably excited. It was as if they had walked through the gates of hell again, safe and sound. At the same time, the Sky Prides who were grabbing the light orbs, without waiting for the treasure light orbs to disperse, they were divided by the female supreme martial artist and supreme demon lord. As for Wang Mang, he couldn't say anything and could only choose the treasure light orbs in the hands of the remaining 2 Sky Prides. Before the treasure light orbs completely dispersed, even Wang Mang and the other 2 didn't know what the treasure light orbs were. This was also the last bit of fairness for Wang Mang. After all, it was already good that they were willing to compete with Wang Mang with luck. Even if they chose not to compete with luck, Wang Mang had nothing to say. Therefore, Wang Mang also secretly nodded in his heart. Supreme Demon Lord and the female Supreme Martial Artist were still reliable. At the same time, Wang Mang also stared at the treasure light orbs in the hands of the last 2 Sky Prides. Now, he only hoped that the 2 Sky Prides were lucky enough to obtain good treasure light orbs. Soon, Wang Mang saw that the treasure light orbs in the hands of the 2 Sky Prides had dispersed. Then, to Wang Mang's joy, a jade slip was floating in the hand of one of the Sky Prides. Moreover, from the aura of the jade slip, it was obviously a 6th-level superpower. In addition, from the aura fluctuation, it was definitely a 6th-level inferior grade superpower. Damn, no one was as lucky as him. Haha, awesome, awesome. Then, Wang Mang looked at the item floating in the hand of the other Sky Pride. It was a scarlet hammer. It looked very domineering. Hammer body carving tiger, hammer head coiling dragon. In addition, from the aura fluctuation, this was obviously a pseudo 6th-level divine weapon. Thinking of this, Wang Mang instantly smiled. Not bad, not bad. The 2 treasures he had obtained were not bad. Looking at the 2 Sky Prides, holding the jade slip and pseudo 6th-level divine weapon reluctantly, a cold smile immediately appeared on Wang Mang's face as he coldly said, "Hand it over." Hearing this, the 2 Sky Prides trembled and looked at Wang Mang with jealousy. If Wang Mang had not curried favor with the 2 Supreme Martial Artists, he would not have dared to bully them like this. The weakest of the 2 was at the same level as Wang Mang, and the other had even reached the 6th heaven of the Supreme Martial Artist. It could be said that they were either not inferior to Wang Mang, or could even suppress Wang Mang. To put it bluntly, without the protection of the 2 Supreme Martial Artists, Wang Mang was nothing to them. However, the 2 of them only hesitated for a moment. Then, they handed the jade slip and divine weapon to Wang Mang. Wang Mang naturally reached out and took the jade slip and divine weapon. In the next moment, the system's voice sounded. Ding! Congratulations, host. Mission successfully completed. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained 300 billion energy points. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained an Immortal Emperor-grade blind box X1. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained an immortal Emperor-grade treasure box X1. Ding! Congratulations, host. Successfully obtained a designated lucky draw opportunity X1. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.